Okay, we're live and we're ready to go. And Kay is going to take the lead tonight. I'm pretty much just going to scroll because I'm not feeling well. So I'm going to put Kay in charge of reading and pausing to discuss and all that stuff. So I want to welcome everybody in the chat and on the panel. I hope everybody had a wonderful New Year's celebration. And just looking forward to putting out more of this content throughout this new year. So thank you everyone for being here, and thank you, Kay, for taking the lead today and helping us out.
All right. Anyone on the panel have anything to say?
I do. Raise his hand. Raising hand. Okay. I'm not still having mixed drinks, so I'll change my profile. I'll change my profile picture. Number 2, I'm going to send this bottle over to Rhonda so she can, feel a lot better.
She needs it.
Living better through chemistry.
That sounds good.
Welcome everyone in the chat to Allie, Sheila Hawkins,
JD.
JD. All right. This is a long one tonight. So this is Jannie Ligons' trial testimony.
Okay. For some reason, I'm missing the file. Why do I not have the file?
It's on the 31st in the Holtzclaw readers chat.
Oh, okay. Duh.
So I'm going to read Galen Gigger's part. Jack is going to read Scott Adams. Susan is Jannie Ligons, and Cherie is going to read the court. I think that's it. Can't really think of any announcements or anything before we get started, so I think we should just jump right in and get started since there's so much. Except I have to get.
And last week it was pre-trial, Kay, that we read last week?
Yeah, that was preliminary hearing that we read last week.
Preliminary, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got to get away from this dog.
So I just want everyone who was here last week to hear the preliminary, just kind of get your mindset to see if you can find differences between preliminary and trial testimony.
Sorry, I should have been more organized, but I'm not.
Blame it on foul play. It's fine.
Blame it on the dog. Get in your own chair. Go.
This is also being streamed over on Twitter or X, whatever it's called. So if anybody's interested in watching there, that's great too.
Okay, we're going to start on. We are going to start, what do you say, on line 14. And that's me.
That's the court. Yep.
Oh, wait, that's the court.
That says Gigger to me.
Well, it's actually line 13.
Oh.
Well, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Hearing a lot of background noise.
Yeah, read line 14 too, Cherie.
Somewhere.
Oh, sorry. Mr. Gigger, call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. State calls Jannie Ligons.
All right, ma'am, raise your right hand. All right, if you'll have a seat over here in this chair, once you get situated, pull that microphone right around in front of you. If you would state your name and spell it for us, please.
Jannie Ligons, Jannie, last name Ligons, Ligons.
All right, thank you. Mr. Gigger, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Ligons, do you live here in Oklahoma City?
Yes, sir.
I want to turn your attention, if I can, back about, about a year and a half ago, give or take a few days, back to the time of June of 2014. Do you remember that time?
Yes, sir.
At that time, ma'am, what part of Oklahoma City were you living in?
Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Like northwest, southeast?
Northwest.
Oh my God. Northwest part of Oklahoma City? Who were you living with?
My daughter at that time, sir.
Okay. Tell the jury your daughter's name, please.
Marisha Ligons.
Did you say Marisha?
Marisha.
Why don't you spell that for her so she gets it right?
Marissa.
And is she an adult lady?
Yes, sir.
Who else was living in the house other than Marisha Ligons?
Richard Long at that time.
Who is he?
He's a fiance of mine.
Okay. And how long have you been in a relationship with Mr. Long?
About 20 years.
Oh, a long time?
A long time.
Okay. Your daughter, Marisha, Richard, your fiance. Who else was living in the house?
Her kids, sir.
And are they, I don't know that I necessarily need their names. Are they young children?
Yes, sir.
School age children?
School age.
How many of them are there?
4.
4 of them? Anyone else living there?
Her boyfriend, Ricky Christopher, was there.
Ricky Christopher as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were you employed at that time?
Yes, sir.
Well, where were you working?
Caring Hearts.
Caring Hearts?
Yes, sir.
What's that?
It's a daycare facility.
All right. What hours did you work?
I work basically from, well, it depends, like 7:30 to 5-ish most evenings.
Most evenings,
Uh-huh.
5 in the evening.
Yeah, 5 basically
So you work days.
days.
Did your fiance, Mr. Long, have a job at that time?
Yes, sir.
What was he doing?
He was employed at Chesapeake.
What did he do at Chesapeake?
He was a chef.
Worked in food service?
Yes, sir. The food service.
Do you recall his shift, or did he have a normal shift that he worked?
He had a normal shift.
What was that, if you recall?
Between 4:30 or 5 in the morning.
And he'd go in very early then?
Yes, sir.
4:30 to 5?
Yes, sir.
What about your daughter, Marisha? Was she working at that?
Not at that point in time.
And if I understood you, it was actually her house.
Correct.
But all of you were sort of there together then?
Correct.
Do you know an individual named Cole McCurtis?
Excuse me?
Cole McCurtis. Do you know an individual by that name?
Yes, sir.
How do you know that gentleman?
He's a friend of mine.
How long have you known him?
About 7 years at the most.
A while.
Uh-huh.
Can you sort of describe that friendship? What do you guys spend time together?
No, we just play dominoes and cards together. That's the kind of time we spend together, sir.
What's does he work, or what's his story?
He gets SSI.
He's disabled?
Disabled.
Where does he live?
He live on 46 and Terry.
46th and Terry?
Correct.
Is that in the northeast part of Oklahoma City?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ma'am, are you familiar with what's called the Spring Lake Division of Oklahoma City?
Yes, sir.
Basically the northeast side, is that right?
Right.
I want to turn your attention back again to that time period of June of 2014. Was it something, did you have the occasion during that time period to go over to Mr. McCurtis's house and play, as you said, cards and dominoes, things like that?
Yes.
How often did you do that?
It depends. Sometimes once a week, twice, maybe once every other week, 2 or 3 times a month. It depends. Not every day.
Not every day?
No.
But it sounds, if I understand, it was a regular thing for you to go over there.
Play cards and dominoes, yeah.
Did your fiance, Mr. Long, have any issues with you going over there and doing that?
Oh no. Sometimes he'd take himself. No, not at all.
Sometimes he'd take you himself? Wasn't a romantic deal then?
Oh no.
Okay. But you'd go over, and I assume, do you like to play cards and dominoes?
Yes, sir, I do. A lot.
I want to turn your attention specifically, if I could, to the evening of June 17th and the early morning hours of June 18th of 2014. Were you at Mr. McCurtis's house then?
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about what you had done in order to get there. What time did you arrive at his house, if you recall approximately?
It'd have to be that evening because I had got off work.
You had worked that day,
Correct.
the 17th?
The 17th.
Okay, and then you'd gone over to that house
That evening.
that evening?
Uh-huh.
Who all was at the house whenever you arrived?
It was Mac and Diane was at that house at that time.
Okay, now Mac, is that a nickname you have for Mr. McCurtis?
That's what I always call him. Yeah, Mac.
And then you mentioned a lady named Diane.
Correct.
Who is Diane?
A friend of his.
Does she live with him, or do you know?
No.
Are they in a romantic relationship, or do you know?
I don't. No, I don't think so.
Was her relationship similar to yours in that she was friends and would play cards and dominoes?
Correct. As far as I know of. Yes, sir.
That's what you knew of?
Uh-huh.
So you arrived there in the evening. Tell the jury a little bit about what you did when you got to his house.
When I got to his house, start playing cards and dominoes. Basically laughing and talking.
Regular evening.
Regular evening.
Do you drink, ma'am?
No, sir.
Had you drunk that night?
No, sir.
Not your thing?
That's not my thing.
All right. How about Mr. McCurtis or Diane? Were they drinking that night, or do you remember?
I don't think so. I'm not saying he doesn't drink, but I don't think he was drinking that night.
What about drugs?
No.
Anything like that?
No. As far as drug, Diane had a little piece of a joint, excuse me, and I looked at it. She asked me, did I want to hit off this joint? Really, I didn't, but I did anyway, just once, and that was it.
joint, you mean marijuana?
Yeah, marijuana.
So when you get there, your memory is Diane had some marijuana.
Well, I mean, yes, I guess a joint of marijuana.
A marijuana cigarette?
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
marijuana cigarette is what she had.
Oh my God. Freaking Giger, man. He's
I
too
like she
much.
had a roach, what she first said.
Giger doesn't know about a roach.
Right.
Right.
He needs to ask his boys. And through whatever the conversation was, you decided to partake in some of that?
Yeah, vaguely. Just a little bit.
Did she have some too?
I assume so, she did.
Well, I mean, who lit it? Give me a break.
Right.
So full of shit.
I just magically lit like roaches do.
Right.
And she did. Okay, what about Mac?
No.
Do you know if Mac even knew that you two ladies were doing that?
He probably didn't. I think it was briefly.
Where did you smoke it? In the house? Outside the house?
Oh, in the house.
Then Mac knew.
I was gonna say I don't think you
Yeah.
light up a joint in the house and people in the house don't know it. Anyway, in the house, okay. Did you get high?
No. I
Have
did
you ever
not
been?
inhale.
Have you ever been high before that day?
No.
Oh my God!
Come on.
Come on, man. She doesn't drink and she's never been high before this day.
Right.
She took
And
one
that's-
hit that day. Just so happened.
And that's the truth.
Except coming up.
Oh God,
Yeah.
okay.
Line 13.
Earlier in your life,
No.
have you gotten high?
Well, earlier when I was young.
So
you just said no. You just said no. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But
Yeah.
she's directable. She's
Right.
Yeah.
coachable here. So you know what it's like to do that,
Yeah.
but you didn't?
Nope.
Is that something you do regularly, ma'am?
Oh no, sir.
No.
To smoke marijuana?
No.
I don't.
God.
Can you explain to the jury at all why that night you decided to go ahead and take some?
I don't. We just sitting there playing cards and dominoes. They play them at the same time. And
Yep.
she pulled out this cigarette of marijuana. And I guess she was smoking it. And she asked if I wanted some. And I said no. And then she say, well, just go ahead, just once. And I say, well, no, I got a headache anyway. I say, I don't want to hit that. But then I say, okay, give it here. And I did that once and gave it back to her, and that was it.
People who don't smoke marijuana aren't going to use the term, I don't want to hit that.
I was thinking
That's
the same thing.
I mean,
So
give
was
me
I.
a break. That's not going to be in your vocabulary, but
That's right.
whatever,
Should just say,
Janie.
I don't want any and move on, but I don't want to hit that. Come on.
Man, I think Giger really didn't do himself any favors going down this line with the...
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what he wants to expose any drug possibility before Scott Adams does it, but it's just so ridiculous that we'd be talking about spending so much time at a trial talking about if someone took one hit off of a joint.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it wasn't legal back
Silly.
then like it is now, but
Yeah.
it's still foolish.
I just want to point out too that in her report at the hospital that she gave to Kim Davis, she said she smoked 2 marijuana cigarettes.
Mhm.
That's in her report to Kim Davis.
Wow.
Amazing
Yeah, that's
how
why
that.
her eyes. Yeah, that's why her eyes look like they do.
Ah, good grief.
I recognize that look. Anyway,
I'm 12.
did it help your headache?
Nope.
Okay. Other than smoking that marijuana, did you take anything that night that might affect your ability to drive a car? Let's talk about pills. Do you have pills?
No, I had a headache about 12ish. I took a PM, something I bought from the dollar store.
You took a PM,
Uh-huh.
like a Tylenol PM or something?
A Tylenol. That's what it was. A PM I got from the dollar store for $1.
Okay.
And I taken one of them and I lay back on the sofa because my head was hurting. That's like 12 o'clock. And I know I had to get home to pick Richard up for work. So I later, about like 2 almost. Then I got up to take him home. I mean, to go get him to take him to work.
I want to pause there just 1 second. Not knowing what day of the week this was, but okay, so it's midnight, and she knew she had to get home to take her boyfriend, fiance of 20 years to work. 20-year fiance. Anyway, so she's got to take him to work at 4 or 5 o'clock, whatever the hell. Doesn't she have to work too at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and she's going to stay up all night?
Well, plus, isn't it weird that she went straight from work at 5 o'clock over there? So the 17th, this is going to be a Tuesday that she goes over there and she leaves on a Wednesday. So yeah, she has to go to work.
So
Yeah.
So she comes over to their house at 5, stays until 2 in the morning, goes and picks Richard up, takes him downtown to work, goes back home, and sleeps. What time did she say she went to work?
7 to work 7 to 5.
So she gets 2
But-
hours.
But this is when she went to the hospital and got the sane exam and all that. So
But I know,
she
but if
went to
this
work.
was her plan and none of that shit ever happened,
Exactly.
right.
that's what
Yeah.
she would have been doing. She would have been not
Yeah.
getting any sleep at all and just going
Yeah.
straight back to work.
Well, I have a
Like 2
headache
hours.
too. If that's
Yeah.
that's what she
Yeah.
does on a
No
for the
kidding.
occasional basis. I have a freaking
Yeah.
headache.
Yeah, me too.
Something's not something's
Oh,
not
I'd
adding
have
up
a
here for me,
headache.
guys.
I'd have a headache if I played cards and dominoes at the same time.
Well, yeah, that's not even including having to take people to work and then go work 10 fucking hours. Pardon my French.
Right.
Well, and let's not forget, she takes care of children in a daycare setting.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that'll give you a headache too.
I'm sure. I'm sure of that.
Sorry.
Oh,
Line
she's
3.
denying the hydrocodone. Okay.
Did you have prescription pills in your car?
No.
Okay, what about hydrocodone? Did you take hydrocodone
No, sir.
back during that time period?
No, sir.
Okay, so if I understand it, you were there. Did you play cards and dominoes that night?
Of course.
Okay. Was it a typical kind of night at Mac's house?
Typical. Yeah. Typical kind of night.
Anything standing out about being there in his house? Anything unusual happen? Anything weird happen?
No, sir.
Okay. You said you dozed off and woke up around 2 a.m.
Uh-huh. Closer to.
So she's saying that she took the Tylenol PM at midnight, laid down, went to sleep until 2. Okay.
Yep.
So she got 2 hours. Okay.
And it's a typical kind of night, so this sounds like this is something she does pretty regularly.
What she said
Well, she said
several
she
times a
did.
week.
Yeah.
So you regularly get no sleep.
Mhm.
Right.
Uh,
And caring for children at the daycare all day. Come on.
so when does she see her fiance?
Well, you know.
Good question.
Well, I don't know. Okay, you said you dozed off and woke up around 2 a.m.
Close to 2.
and your decision was you needed to go back to pick up Mr. Long.
Right.
Okay. Did you have just one car?
Yes, sir.
And what kind of car were you driving?
A Grand '04 Grand Am at that time, sir.
What color is it?
Red.
I guess I said, was it? It sounds like you don't have it anymore.
No.
It was red.
Uh-huh.
When you left, do you recall if Mac was awake or asleep, or do you know?
He was awake.
What about Diane? Was she still there?
She was awake. They were still playing cards at that table.
They were still going?
Uh-huh.
All right, you left, and where'd you go?
Headed home, going down 46 to my mom's street, which is 48th and Prospect. I take that route all the time if I'm out to check on my mom's house. My mom's kind of elderly and is not in the best health, and I always pass down her street.
Okay, so if you were in the neighborhood, you'd drive by
Correct.
just to kind of look at is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay, did you stop or go in?
Mom's house?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I just kept going.
Okay,
Okay,
that's
so you
weird. That's I remember this from before you guys talking about it. This is just really strange to me.
Make sure
Her
it didn't burn down.
well, this specific line of questioning because my mom's kind of elderly, not the best of health. So clearly, if she's going over there, unless she's going from somewhere else, she's going to go that way as well. So why not stop in and see mom for a minute if it's of that
Before you
concern?
go play cards and
Yeah,
dominoes at
yeah,
the same
yeah. Half
time.
the night, right? That's just I don't know. It's just strange to me. Again,
It is
in
kind of weird.
you
Yeah.
using this in this line of questioning, I find it strange. Anyway, I apologize.
you'd think she'd go there at 5 and then go play dominoes, but
Yes.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
right.
I think Giger liked to put this in the story because it shows that she in some
Cared
way
about
is
her mom.
concerned about her mom and her mom's, I mean, the whole
Yeah,
emotional element from the
at 2 a.m.
Absolutely.
If I was a jurist, I would be looking at them like, "What are you doing?" That's just me, though.
yeah, well, he's not a great fiction writer, but
No.
he's been doing it a long time, so he thinks he is. Um, let's see. Line 8.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't see anything that concerned you?
No, I didn't.
Okay, that's the 48th and Prospect area.
Correct.
Then what'd you do?
I went all the way down 48th to 48th at Everest. Then when I got to 48 in Everest, I turned to go to 50th and Everest.
Are
Does
you
that make sense?
familiar? Are you
Pardon?
familiar with the east side?
Of course.
Okay, and you told me now that your mother lives in a house there. Did you grow up on the northeast side?
I did.
Oh, you did. So you know about these streets and you know about the neighborhood.
Correct.
How long did you live on the northeast side before you moved over to the northwest side? You told me you grew up there.
I
A
moved off the
reminder.
northeast side.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I moved off of the northeast side. Then I moved north. Then I moved back northeast. Then I moved back northwest.
That wasn't the question, Janie.
No.
So between those two locations, the northwest part of town where your daughter and you and your daughter were living,
Uh-huh.
the majority of your life, you've been on the northeast side. Am I understanding that right?
Nope.
Back and forth?
More north than northwest side. And the east side after maybe about when I was like, I say 18 years old, I moved north.
Then you moved out of the northeast side?
Yeah. Then I moved back years later.
I understand. Okay, thank you. Drive by your mom's, and I'm sorry I interrupted you. Then you headed where after driving by your mom's house?
I headed toward 50th and Kelly.
Okay, 50th and Kelly.
Uh-huh.
Then what'd you do at 50th and Kelly, if you remember?
I was waiting for the light to change, and I noticed these car lights at the side of me going slow.
So you're on 50th now?
Right.
Okay. Which way you going on 50th, if you remember?
Just like toward the lights on 50th and Kelly. I guess that's what, northwest?
Okay. Where were you trying to go? That's what I mean.
Going to my daughter's house.
Right. Okay. So you're going back to the northwest side of town.
Uh-huh.
What roads were you trying to get to your daughter's house?
I was going down Lincoln. I was going to exit off on I-44 back going toward Lincoln, but I noticed this car light was on the side of me, and I noticed it got behind me. And I'm looking.
Hang on a second. I want to make sure I understand. So you're headed toward 50th. You're headed toward 50th, toward Lincoln,
Uh-huh.
to get to the access to I-44
Yes.
off of Lincoln.
Uh-huh.
That's the direction you were trying to go?
Uh-huh.
Okay. The court.
On 6.
Ma'am, could I get you to answer verbally instead of just so we can make sure the record's clear as to what you're saying.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's about 2 a.m. or a little after 2 a.m.
Yes, sir.
Is there a lot of traffic on the street or not?
It's not.
Now, you've talked about another car. So tell me where are you if you remember when you first noticed this other vehicle that you're telling me about?
Like passing 50th and Kelly at the lights.
Okay, so going west on 50th, past Kelly, heading toward Lincoln. Am I understanding right?
Correct.
Okay. Tell me what that car does. What do you remember about it?
First, I noticed it on the side of me, and then it got behind me.
Okay, when you say he's on the side of you, which lane are you in? Are you in the lane closest to the curb
The curb.
or in the middle lane?
The curb.
Okay. So when he comes beside you, he's coming up on your side, the driver's side of your car.
Right.
Does he come up all the way beside you where you can see him, or what do you remember about that?
No. He came up to where he could see me. He came up beside me, and then he got behind me. When he stopped me in the car, he got behind me.
So
At
he could
some
see her. So he could see her, but she couldn't see him. Am I understanding this
No, sir.
around the corner vision that Daniel's got? That's interesting.
What's also interesting how tinted the windows were that Daniel wasn't seeing shit.
Oh,
Right.
and her and that Grand Am, yeah.
Yeah. They want to say he profiled her by coming up
Mhm.
beside her, but those windows are so tinted that he couldn't. There's he couldn't even know how many people were in the car, much less what color they were, or race, what gender.
Mhm.
At some point, did you notice it was a police car?
Yes, I knew it was a police car
When did you notice it was a police car?
when I saw those letters on the side that say police, big white letters, sir.
Was that whenever he was beside you?
Uh-huh. I could tell.
Okay. And then you notice then a police car is now pulling in behind you.
Correct.
What are you thinking?
I didn't know what to think because I was just driving. I just thought it was the police just getting behind me.
Did you get nervous?
Not really. But if a police get behind me, I got a little nervous. That's just natural.
You just said you didn't.
You're just paying attention. He's back there.
Right.
Did you swerve, ma'am?
No, I did not.
Were you intoxicated?
Not at all, sir.
Well, what happened next?
He got when he got behind me as I passed the lights was red on Lincoln. And when I got ready to take off on the lights, when it changed green, he pulled his he turned his lights on and then I pulled over.
So you actually came to a stop at the light at 50th and Lincoln,
Uh-huh. Correct.
and your memory is the lights change, and instead, did you? Why didn't you turn onto Lincoln and go on north to go toward I-44? Why'd you?
I really don't know. Just I guess because he got behind me and I just kept straight.
Oh my God! Now what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, that makes
Because
no sense.
she's absolutely just changed her story and no red flags at all. That's a huge red flag for me.
That
Go ahead.
makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, but are you actually in that intersection then when the lights come on, the police lights? Are you, or are you past the intersection, or do you remember?
I was like on a just about the end of the intersection, sir.
Okay, so you've gone through
Yes,
the intersection of Lincoln and you remember the lights coming on?
correct.
What'd you do?
I pulled over, sir, and stopped.
Tell me what happened.
And then I could, when he pulled behind me and he got out of his car and came to my car. And that's when I opened up my car door because my window don't let down the driver's side. So I had to open up my car door.
The driver's window won't roll down.
No, sir.
So you open the door. What happens?
And he came to my car and he said, I stopped you because I see you were swerving. I say, swerving? I said, no, sir. I said, I wasn't swerving.
Were you rude to him?
Excuse me?
Were you rude to him?
Not at all.
Okay. When you say the way you just said it to me was, no, sir, I wasn't swerving. Is that the word you used?
Yes, sir.
Why don't you testify for him? Don't you get in the box, Gigger, asshole?
He is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What, if anything, did he respond, and what happened next?
He told me when well, when he looked in the car, he saw that cup there. He say, what is that you're drinking? I say, that's Kool-Aid, sir. I say, you can taste it if you want to.
Oh my
By this
God.
time, he asked me to get out of the car. I got out of the car and he told me to walk back to his car. I walked back to his car and he was walking. I was walking to his car. He was walking backwards. I remember him saying, was you nervous or was I nervous? And I'm like, no, sir, you know. And so I walked back to his car. He asked me to put his hands on, or my hands on top of his car.
All right, now hang on just a minute. I want to make sure I'm understanding where you're at. You've gone through the intersection of 50th. Jesus
Uh huh.
Christ. And you stopped. Then are you still on the inside lane so that it'd be the north lane on 50th? Do you know what I mean? Are you still next to you pull over next to the curb?
A duh. At the curb, right? Jesus.
Oh, wait a minute. I need to make sure where you are because I've only asked you
Yeah,
45
God.
times already. And
Right.
wait a
Right?
minute.
We need
The
to repeat
jury
this
looks
like
like they might be asleep. So let's back up and do this over again.
God.
Did you actually stop on 50th Street or did you pull off on some
I was like there on Beverly Drive at that
just right there?
corner. Uh huh.
And then he's behind you
Yes, sir.
and you've walked back to his car.
Correct.
So are you standing on the curb side of the street or are you standing on the lane side? You understand?
The lane side.
Okay, so is there traffic going by or not?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, what happens next?
When I get to his police car, I put my hands on the top of his car for him to search me. He starts searching me. He said, "You got let me know if you got any illegal drugs on you. If I find any on you, then I'm taking you to jail." And I say, "I don't have any illegal drugs on me, sir." So he patted me down and didn't find any. So at this point in time, he opened up his car door and I gets in his police car.
Okay, so what does she say in preliminary hearing about
She's
getting
on the other
searched?
side. Oh,
But he also put her in the
he
car first and then he got her out and searched her, right?
I
no,
think that's
I
right.
think he searches her first, but he puts her hands up on the car.
Not initially
Search her.
from prelim, right? Rhonda, do you remember?
I can't remember.
I
I
thought
think in prelim, he searches her first and puts her hand. She says she puts her hands on the car, and then he puts her in the car and goes up and checks her car, searches her car, and then comes back and gets her out of the car.
and makes her
Yeah.
do the
Well,
clasp and shake then?
Yes.
didn't she do the bra inside the car or was she out?
I can't recall.
I think from prelim she was inside the car, but then in her story it seems like there's no indication of when she got out. She's still telling the story, but she fails to mention the part of when she stepped out of the car. She turned her legs.
Yeah.
Right.
But she also said she was on the passenger side, on the
Right.
curb side. Now she's in the
She-
lane.
Yeah. I don't think she knew what Giger was talking about.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
bet she's pretty freaking nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Can you
Alex
imagine?
says he put her in the car first.
Try to keep your goddamn lies straight.
Right? No doubt.
Yeah, Allie's right.
What'd she say?
Allie. She said, yes, he put her in the car first. And then we talked about who the hell put someone in the car without searching him first. Yeah.
That's right. I thought I remembered that conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's, these inconsistencies between preliminary testimony and trial testimony, let's see if Adams picks up on this one and crosses her on it. Put that on the list. Which side are
Yeah.
you on? Are you on the driver's side or the passenger side?
Of his car, I was on the passenger side.
The passenger. So you've made your way around. If you're still facing, are you still facing west?
Okay. When I uh when I walked back from the street, I went over to the passenger side.
Oh, that's new.
Like at what
that
point
mean?
did that happen? I mean,
Right?
and good job, Gigger, bringing the passenger side back up since we're already in the
Mhm.
lane.
Mhm.
Oh my God. That's where he patted me down on the passenger side.
You said something a moment ago about him having you place your hands on top of his car.
Correct. Oh,
Where
wait.
did
Hang on. We switched roles.
Oh,
That was me. You said something a moment ago about him having you place your hands on top of his car.
correct. I didn't even notice.
Susan, you've
shit.
been hitting that roach?
Nope. You think so?
What part of his car did you touch? The front part, back part? Where was it?
I think the front part, sir.
Like the hood of the car or back in the where the passenger where the doors are?
Where the doors are, at the top.
Okay, up at the top.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Correct.
And was he searching you whenever that happened? Is that or what? Why did he have you put your hands up there?
So he could search me.
And did he?
Yes, sir.
How did he search you?
He just patted me down, sir.
Okay, like your sides or how?
My sides, yeah, and my pockets, and
Okay, do you think he had done anything inappropriate at that point?
no, sir.
All right. He told you that if I find something on you, you're going to jail.
Correct.
That made you nervous or not?
Nope.
But those are his words. You're going to jail if I find something.
For the fourth time.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So he put you now in the back seat on the passenger side.
Correct.
Does he close you into the car? Like, are you all the way in, shut into it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What happens at that point?
Then he goes back to my car and he, I guess, searched my purse and I guess check the cup that's sitting there in the cup holder.
You're saying you guess. Can you see what he's doing?
No, sir.
Okay. You just know that but you saw him go back to your car.
To my car.
Could you tell if he got into your car?
I could tell he got into my car.
You could see that.
I could see that.
Okay. And when you said he's looking at your purse or looking at the cup, you're just assuming that's what he was doing?
Yes, sir. Because things wasn't like the way they was when I got back in the car. So I know he went through my purse.
Okay. Later, when this is over and you get back in your car, you notice things are moved around.
Right.
That's part of your assumption that he was looking at stuff.
Right.
All right. Oh, wait, that's on me. It's the court on line 3.
All right, Mr. Giger, I think we'll stop with the testimony at this point since it's about 7 minutes to 5. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to recess for the evening.
Are we skipping ahead to something, Rhonda?
Yeah, just go to the next page, okay?
Yeah, they're taking the night off, and I took out all the in-between pages, so we're just gonna go from
Line
Judge
4.
Rishi step down, yeah, and then we'll switch to the next page when they come back on Monday.
So where do you want?
Line 4, the court on page.
Oh, okay. I'm on the wrong page.
There's some,
Document.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let the record reflect that all members of the jury are present. Counsel for the state are present. Counsel for the defendant is present. Mr. Giger, you can call your witness back to the stand.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Miss Ligons, let me remind you, you're still under oath. If you'll go ahead and have a seat in the chair, just like yesterday, if you'll pull that microphone right around in front of you. Mr. Giger, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Ligons, whenever we left off yesterday, I think you had talked about essentially the traffic stop had occurred at very close to the intersection of 50th and Lincoln, correct?
Correct.
And I think you had told me that you had been placed in the back seat of the patrol car with the door shut, and the officer had gone and was doing something in the front of your car.
Correct.
Okay. And I also believe that you told me that you assumed he was looking through your stuff because when you got back into your car eventually, when this was over, things had been moved around. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, how long, if you can estimate for me, do you think you sat in the back of the police car while the officer was doing whatever it was he was doing in your car?
About 2 minutes.
Not very long?
Nope, not very long.
Okay. What happened after he finished whatever he was doing in your car? What do you remember happening next?
He came back to his car and opened up the door where I was at on the passenger side.
Okay. And if I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you told us last night you were in the back seat of the patrol car, but on the passenger side of the car. Is that right?
Correct.
What happened?
Well, when he opened up the car door, he said to me, he said, "How do I know you don't have anything in your bra?" I say, "Sir, I don't." And so I start fidgeting with my bra. The motions I did was like this. I started fidgeting with my bra. And he said, "I can't tell like that." I said, "What? You want me to raise my blouse up?" And he said, "Yes." So I raised my blouse up. And then I guess it wasn't, I say, "What? You want me to raise my bra up too?" And he said, "Yes." This has changed. I raised my bra up. He took his flashlight and started shining it on my chest. And I put my blouse down real fast.
So, ma'am, as you've described that, are you telling the jury that your breasts were actually exposed at this point?
Yes, sir, they were.
Will anyone have anything to say about her?
Wow. Her little change in her story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty significant change.
big change. You suppose Galen coached her to do that?
Absolutely.
would've-
There's
Well,
no
I
mention
mean-
anywhere else of her showing her bare breasts. And that's part of what Giger needs. Not to mention, they know there's no DNA found on Jannie Ligons at all, including any prints or any DNA on or in his car. So to make this alleged crime more believable or more salacious, he wants the jury to hear that he made her expose her breast. She's never said that anywhere else in the police report, at the hospital, or during her preliminary. This is new.
Did she say she had to lift up her shirt at the hospital in the police report?
In the police report, she had to lift up her shirt,
And he
but
shined the
only,
flash. He
and he
says
shined
the
the flashlight.
flashlight thing, right? In that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Daniel says she just lifts it so he can see the waist of her pants or
Right.
whatever.
So that there's
Yeah.
to show there's no weapon in the waistband.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Well, I think he had her. She was facing away from him when he
She was
had
in
her.
the car. She was still in the
Well,
car here.
yeah, but wasn't there some questioning about, when Gregory was drilling Daniel about this in the interview about, he said Daniel said, had her facing the opposite direction when she shook out her
Mhm.
bra.
Mhm.
And he said, well, how are you going to see if anything fell? And he said, well, if anything fell, it would have been right there. But I just do that for officer safety.
Mhm.
You know,
Yep.
can't shoot me if she can't see me.
And she's saying this happened in the back of the car.
Right. Yeah, everything. It is interesting in the interview how pretty much their stories are pretty similar
Right.
until she starts inserting the
Until right
allegation
now.
to the
Yep.
story.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Are we on line 9 or
13.
13? I'm going to
Her
back up
breasts
in
were
a
exposed.
So, ma'am, are you telling this jury that your breasts were actually exposed at this point?
Yes, sir, they were.
Why did you do that?
Because he asked me to. And I was afraid. Because I couldn't see him doing anything like that and just let me get away with it. I didn't even understand it.
He came back and this conversation was basically he opened the door and that was the subject of the conversation.
Yes. He say, how do I know you don't have any? And say, how do I know you don't have anything in your bra? And I demonstrated him that I didn't. And he said he couldn't tell like that. Then he wanted me to lift up my blouse.
Did you? At first, did you just comply or did you protest in I think that's supposed to be anyway to him. Did you say I don't want to do that? Why don't you give her a bunch of multiple choices, Gigger?
Yeah. No kidding.
Which pick one of these?
At that point, I didn't, sir. I just say, what, you want me to lift up my blouse? And he said, yes. I just lifted up. I was afraid for my life. I just did
more
what he
add in.
said.
More add in.
Mhm.
Why were you afraid for your life?
Because he was a police officer. And I don't know why he stopped me. And then he had that gun. I see so much innocent people getting killed for no reason. And I was
There
just
you
doing
go.
whatever he said. There it is.
There it is right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's exactly right.
I think she honestly was in fear for her life. I mean, as ridiculous as that sounds.
Well, I
think
mean, when
she
you're
was.
sitting home and you're watching TV and you're watching what's going on around the country,
Yeah.
and then you get pulled over,
Yeah. In the middle of the night.
Oh, god
Yeah.
dang it. Hey, Cherie, can you read Giger's part for a minute?
You want me to read Galen for a minute? Is that what
Yeah.
you said?
And,
Okay.
and maybe Rhonda can read the court. I need to step away for a minute. I just got a message I need to.
That's fine. We can do it.
No problem.
Okay, sorry guys.
Where do you start now?
Line 12.
All right, so you lift up your shirt first, your blouse.
Yes, sir.
And after you lifted up your blouse, did you say, help me understand how you went from just lifting your blouse to then lifting your bra as well.
Okay. First, I started doing this, and he said, I can't tell like that. And I say, what? You want me to lift up my blouse? And he said, yes. So I lift up my blouse, and I say, you lift my bra too? And that's what I did. He said, yes. I lift up my bra real quick, and I put it back down. He took a flashlight and shined it on my chest. And so I put my blouse down, everything real fast.
What were you thinking at this point?
I was just afraid for my life. I was just lost because I couldn't understand.
Was it so dark in the back of the police car that he needed to use his flashlight?
No, sir, no.
Was there anything about him using the flashlight that concerned you, or is it, I know you remember that detail, but I mean, does that surprise you, or did it have anything to do with it?
It surprised me that he would do that.
And that caused you to pull your shirt down real fast?
Yes, because I was exposing myself, and I put it down real fast.
What happened next?
He said, how do I know you don't have anything in your pants? And I say, sir, I don't have anything in my pants. And I was like, feeling my pants. And he said he can't tell like that. And so,
You said you started feeling your pants?
yeah, like I didn't have nothing in my pockets or anything.
Okay, so you're still sitting in the police car?
Uh-huh. I'm still sitting there.
Show me how you started. If you can, show me how you were feeling your pants.
I'm just saying I don't have anything in my pockets. I just started doing things like that.
You're motioning like this?
Yeah.
Where are you pulling? What kind of pants were you wearing?
Blue jeans.
Blue jeans? Okay, were they similar to the ones you have on today?
No.
Kind of snug fitting? What were they like? Were they like that?
They wasn't really snug fitting at all.
Okay, but you were kind of lifting them like this.
Huh?
Okay.
Correct. Yes, sir.
What did he say or do anything after you did that?
He told me to, after he did that, he told me to get out of the car. And he wanted to check my pants. So he wanted me to stand up to make sure I didn't have anything in my pants.
Miss Ligons, I want to stop right there for a minute. Just as you're getting out of the car, I want to back up and ask about something you said yesterday.
Okay.
Yesterday you said that whenever he first stopped you and had you come out and put
Correct.
your hands on the car,
Uh-huh.
you told me that he pat searched you.
Right. He did.
Okay, and maybe I didn't. I want to make sure that I remember exactly what you told me. You motioned as you were sitting there today. When he pat searched you, was he touching you on the sides of your body or was he touching you somewhere else?
Just the side of my body, like a usual pat search.
Okay, when he got down to your jeans, did he feel in the pocket area or not?
He did.
So it went basically down just like this.
Yeah, just like a pat search.
Didn't take long.
No.
All right, now pick up where we left off. He's now asked you to stand up. So you stand up right outside the rear passenger door.
Yes, sir, I did.
Is the door still open or have you stepped away from the car?
When I stepped out of the car, the door was still open.
Okay, so essentially, if this was the back seat passenger, but you stepped out and the door is still right here.
Door's still right there. This
What
is
happens?
different than what she said at preliminary. She said she moved to the left, didn't she? Moved out of that area.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
He's standing like
Oh, sorry.
what? Oh. He's standing like blocking the door on when I got out. Then when I got out, he moved back. Then he asked me to pull my pants down. And at this time, well, I'm gonna rephrase that. I'm gonna back that up. I'm sorry. Before I got out the car, I say, "Sir, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that, sir." I was doing my hands like this. I was so afraid. I say, "Sir, you're not supposed to do this to me. You're not supposed to do this, sir." I said, I'm a 57-year-old grandma. I have 12 grandkids. I'm like, why are you doing this?
So you start to vocalize?
Well, this is all new.
I was
Yes.
just going to say, this is all new stuff we haven't read or heard before.
Yeah.
Protest
Yes.
what's happening to you? What does he respond to you in any way?
No, he doesn't respond.
What happens? So as you're doing this and you're saying what you're saying, what is that when he directs you to pull your pants down, or does something else happen?
No, he directs to I got out the car.
Okay, take me through it.
I got out the car. When I got out the car, I stood there and I'm standing there. I'm like, "What, sir? You want me to pull my pants down?" And he said, "Yes." And I'm like, in my mind, he's not supposed to do this to me. He's not supposed to pull my pants down. So I pulls my pants down to my knees. I pull up my pants to my knees. I pull my pants to my knees. I got on black underwear. When I pulled him to my knee, he took his flashlight and I was doing like this. He started shining his flashlight between my legs and I took my pants and I pulled them back up real fast. And that's when I got back in the car. When I was getting back in the car, he turned around.
Stop for
Isn't
just
this
a minute. Oh,
is
sorry.
this all? No, Isn't this all new?
Yes.
I mean, we
Yeah.
didn't hear
So
any of
much
this in
more
the
embellished. Yeah.
right. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Jesus.
Are you back, Kate?
I am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Line 23.
Stop for just a minute. I don't mean to be embarrassing to you, but whenever you pulled your pants down, did you have to unsnap them or unzip them, or did they have a zipper?
Yeah, I unsnapped him.
So you went through that motion.
Yeah, unfastened them.
You pulled them down,
Uh-huh.
and you may have said it. You may have said it, ma'am, but you're talking pretty fast.
I talk fast. I'm so sorry.
No, if I didn't catch it, is what I mean. Okay, I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
is what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's add
When
some
you
more to the story.
Yeah. When you pulled your pants down, were you wearing underwear? Yeah, black ones, dumbass.
Yes, sir.
What? Can you describe the underwear for me?
Already did. They was black. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay, what style of underwear?
Oh,
What
for
I
Like
fuck's
that
mean is
sake.
matters. Like
what I
that
mean is
matters.
just regular panties, thong. Are they long? Are they short?
No,
Long underwear?
they was long. Actually, they was like girdle panties. They came like up to here because I have a big stomach. Sometimes I wear those to my stomach. They were long. They were big. They came up to here like now. They long. Come up to here.
Okay, let me just say this. Nobody pulls girdle panties up real fast. Oh, wait, her panties didn't come down. Okay,
No, they
right.
didn't.
Okay. Oh my God. And I'm not trying to embarrass you, ma'am. So you still had your panties on
Yes, sir.
when you pulled your pants down?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then you how long were they down?
Not long at all. I pulled them up very quick, long enough for him to shine the lights between my legs, and then the flash with the flashlight.
He did the flashlight again.
No, he only did it once between my legs, but it was
That's what I mean. He used the flashlight when you pulled your pants down as well.
yes, sir. He did.
Not very long then, you pulled them back up.
I pulled them back up.
Now, I interrupted you. What happens after that?
Okay, but then he want me get back into the car. I get back into the on the way back in, the process of getting back in the car, he turned and he said his exact words. He say, "Damn, you have a big ass." And I say, "Oh my God. I know this not the police officer saying this to me." I say, "Oh my God, he gonna kill me."
That's what you were thinking?
Yes, to myself, say, "He gonna kill me for saying these things to me."
You remember him saying those words to you?
Exactly. I never forget them as long as I live.
What happened next?
When I when I when I got back in the car and after he said that he was he was holding himself, you know? He was he was holding himself.
Well, describe it. You said you know. What was he what do you mean? What was he doing?
He was holding his penis. He was holding his penis.
Was his penis out at this point?
No, no, he was just
So he had his hand on his
uh-huh.
private area over his pants.
Correct. Over his pant, his private area.
I don't know that I asked you, was he dressed in a police uniform?
Of
No,
course.
he's in a outfit.
It was a clown suit, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
of
God.
course.
Okay, did he have a belt on
Yes.
like police have?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned a little earlier in your testimony that you saw the gun and that was one of the reasons you were in fear for your life.
Yes. I saw the gun on his right side right here, and his name badge was right above it, right there. It was silver name badge, and his gun was right there.
Did you
That
read
makes
his
no
name
sense.
badge? I
That
thought
makes
she
no
didn't
sense.
even look if he had a name badge or not because
That's
she
Right?
right.
was so scared.
You're right.
Now she knows what color it is. Maybe it just looks silver with the lights, the way they shine on it.
Yeah.
Did you read his name badge?
No, I was afraid to look up at his name. I said, if I see his name, I say, he's sure gonna kill me if I know what his name is.
Oh, you were thinking that, or you were saying that?
No, I was thinking that out to myself. I said, if I look at his name badge, he's gonna kill me. That's what I'm thinking to myself. I tried not to look at his name, which I didn't.
Miss Liggins, you said he put you back in the car after you had pulled your pants down. Has he shut the door back in, or is the door shut now, or is the door still open?
The door's still open.
Okay. And you see him with his hand as you've described.
Yes, sir.
What happens next?
Then he said, come on. I'm like, what? At this point in time, he wanted me to, I guess, whatever you call it, he wanted me to give him some oral sex. So about this point,
How do you know that?
because he unzipped his pants and took it out. Yes.
Oh,
So at this point, you're sitting in the car. He's still standing outside the open door.
He's still standing outside. He's standing like this with me like this. And he's in front of me to where I can't get out of the car. He's in front of me.
And ma'am, you motioned, and so that this lady can write down what you're motioning. In other words, you spread your legs apart and he's standing in between your legs. When is this? I've never heard that before.
Yeah. I'm not like didn't even demonstrate. I was on like this. He had his legs like spread in front of me
I see.
to where I couldn't get out of the car.
Are your feet on the ground?
My feet are on the ground.
You're not in the car?
They're
I mean,
not
they're
in
not
the
in the
car.
car.
They're not
They're
in the
outside.
they're go ahead, sorry.
They're outside the car.
They turned around.
what?
Her feet
The
turned
hell?
around.
Yeah.
Now her
Okay.
ankles are pointing forward. Okay, so you're sitting in the car,
Uh-huh.
but you're facing outside and your feet are outside the car.
Correct.
He's right in front of you,
He's right in front of me.
straddling your legs with his legs. She's just said no.
Yep. He's right in front of me.
How did he expose his penis if you know?
Gosh. He unzipped his pants and he took it out and say, come on. And I say, oh no, sir, please don't make me. I told him, please don't make me do that. I said, don't make me do that. I said, you're gonna shoot me. You're gonna kill me. He say, I'm not gonna shoot you. I say, you promise? He said, I promise. So at this point in time, a car passed by and it was like a gold SUV. Amazing she noticed that.
Oh
He
yeah.
was standing right in front of her. They were turning into that parking lot. And when he see them turn to that parking lot, he was standing over me and he took his hand and put it on top of his police car and watched the car pass by. When the car passed by, he then turned back around and he said, come. He told me to come on.
Had he put it in your mouth yet?
Not yet, but getting ready to.
Not at that point.
No. But after that, I did for a second after that. But I was afraid because when I did, I couldn't really do it because I was scared he was going to kill me. When I bent down Only thing I was looking at, that gun on the side, and I say to myself, dear Lord, when I bend down, he's gonna shoot me in the head. I know he was gonna kill me. I could see him doing that like that. So when I bent down, I tried to put it in my mouth. I did briefly for a minute. Then I raised up. I said, "Sir," I can't do this. I can't do this." He say, "Come on, just for a little bit, just for a minute." And I say, "Oh no, sir, don't make me do that." He, come on, just for a minute, you know. I'm say, "I can't do it." And he was like, he ain't got all day. He just got off work. He was tired.
He said that to you?
Yes, he said that to me. He say, "I just got off work. I'm tired. I don't have all night." He said that to me.
Okay.
And I tried to do it again, and I just did it for briefly, for a minute. And then he backed up away from me and he let me out the car
All right.
with
Miss Liggins.
his penis swinging.
Yeah. All right, Miss Liggins, I want to ask you a couple things about what you just told me, all right?
Okay.
You described that he exposed his penis to you by unzipping his pants.
Yes, sir.
Are you telling me that the gun belt and all stay on his that stay on and his penis just came out of the fly of his pants?
Yes. He unzipped his, I don't know how he did it, but he unzipped his pants and he pulled out his penis and it was right there. And he tell me to come on.
And so while you're doing this and your head is in that area of his body,
Uh-huh.
the gun that you've described is right there,
It's right there.
and that's you're seeing the gun as well.
Yes, sir. I was looking at it. I was afraid because I'm bending down looking at the gun and he was going to shoot me with it. I was afraid for my life.
Did you ever say to him those words, "You're going to shoot me,"
Yes.
or something like that?
Yes, sir. I said it more than one occasion. Yes. He say, "I'm not."
What did he say in response?
He say, "I'm not going to shoot you. I'm not going to shoot you. I promise." I say, "You promise?" He say, "I promise."
That part matches Daniel's version of the story too.
Uh-huh.
And ma'am, you said it, but I want this record to be clear for a variety of reasons. Did his penis actually go inside your mouth?
It did, sir. It went inside my mouth. He didn't ejaculate or nothing because twice. The first time it went inside my mouth was like briefly for a second. And I lift up real fast, say, "No, sir, I couldn't do that." And he said, "Come on, just a little bit." He got off work. He don't have all night. He just got off work. I tried for another few seconds. I just couldn't do it. I just say, "No, sir, I just can't do that."
All right, 1 minute, please. After this back and forth about "I can't do it," what? After this, what is this? I can't get this phrasing.
It makes sense.
After this back and forth about "I can't do it," what you've already said, is it at that point that how does it come to an end exactly?
He just kind of saw how afraid I was and begging for my life and just saw that I just wasn't the type of woman. I guess he thought I was that would do something like that too.
Hey people, what's rape about? Is
Power.
it about
Power.
power?
Power.
Jannie Ligons had the power in this situation. Is that what she's
Uh-huh.
just testifying
Yep.
to?
Yep.
Yeah.
All she had to do was say, "I can't do this," and her rapist said, "Okay, you can go."
Yep.
He just saw she wasn't that
Yep.
type of woman. I guess he thought. Okay. Hang on. Don't speculate as to what he's thinking.
Okay. Because I don't know what he's thinking.
Just tell me how it came to an end.
Okay. How it came to an end. He backed up. He put his penis in.
He put his penis up in his pants.
Put it up. He put it up.
Yep.
Good.
Gotta put it up.
Uh-huh. And then he backed up and I got up. And I was just saying, as I was walking away, I was saying to myself, I just thought he was going to shoot me in the back or something. I didn't know what he was going to do. So I just saying, oh, thank you, sir. Thank you for not taking me to jail. He say, okay, I'm going to follow you to your daughter's house.
He said, "I'm going to follow you to your daughter's house."
Yes, sir. I say, fine. I said, okay, you follow me to my daughter's house. So he gets in his car, I gets in mine.
And so that I remember, and I apologize if I asked you yesterday, whenever he stopped you, had you told him where you were going? And you may have said that yesterday.
I told him I was going to my daughter's house. I did.
So that's how he knew that.
Yes, I told him I was going to my daughter's house. He knew I was going. He said, where are you? I said, to my daughter's house. He knew where I was going.
Okay, so he says, "I'm going to follow you to your daughter's house."
Yes, sir.
What happens then?
Well, he's going to follow me to my daughter's house. I said, okay, sir, follow me to my daughter's house. So he gets in his car and I gets in mine. But I have to turn around, so I have to make a U-turn to get back. The light's on Lincoln to go down I-44. But then in the process of turning, I'm looking at him. I say, how in the world is he to follow me to my daughter's house and he's in front of me? How he gonna follow me? So I behind him. The light turned green. He turned and I turned. But I promise he was going so fast that only thing I could see his back of lights briefly for a second. But he was going too fast. It all just disappeared. The only thing I know is he went down I-44, which he
All
didn't,
right.
right? He says he went on whatever that other deal was.
Broadway extension.
Yeah, that's what Daniel said. Anyway.
Well, I'm just thinking if the Broadway extension turns into that. I need to look at a map. That's Rhonda's job, maps.
Uh-huh.
I'll have to check it out.
All right.
I'm pretty sure that's what Daniel said, that he went on the Broadway extension.
Yeah, he did.
All right. And Miss Ligons, I don't know if people are familiar with the intersection that you're talking about. Yesterday, you described how the traffic stop occurred. You were headed west on 50th Street.
Uh-huh, correct.
And after you went through the intersection is where you pulled over. Do you remember saying that?
Yes, sir.
Is that still accurate?
That's accurate.
Why would it be inaccurate now? What?
Okay, after this event is over, you've now told me that you did a U-turn to go back to 50th. She never said U-turn.
Yes, she just did.
He turned and I turned.
She just said.
Oh, she said U-turn?
She said, but I
Yeah,
have to
she's
turn around, so I have to make a U-turn to
a
get back.
U-turn, yeah.
Oh, well, dang. I'm not winning any awards.
What are we on here?
I lost my place.
20.
And
Yeah,
then
20 or
li-
line 2.
Let's, oh,
You just asked me if I did a U-turn to go back to 50th. All
yeah,
right.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
after this event is over, you've told me that you did a U-turn to go back to 50th?
Yeah, because I had to turn around.
Okay, and did he turn around as well?
He turned around before me.
Okay, so he ended up in front of you because you both did a U-turn,
Correct.
and then the light you've talked about is the light still at that same intersection?
On Lincoln.
for
But now
fuck's
go,
sake,
what
was
the
it gonna
fuck is
move? Was the fucking
no?
light gonna move? Come on,
Exactly.
They
man.
moved
Right.
the stoplight,
Jesus.
but now you're going east on on 50th through.
Correct.
Okay, light changes and then you go. Both of you go north on Lincoln.
To
What? No.
I-44.
What
No,
is
they
the
turn
light
there, right?
changes thing? Like he was gone so fast. They didn't stop for a light to change, right?
Yeah, this is new, isn't it?
What is this about?
Stop at the light. He's in front of her. Don't they have to make a left to get on the I-44 there?
They would not. They
Yeah.
would now.
No.
Mm-hmm.
They had to make a left to get to the interchange. And they did.
But he says they go north on Lincoln to I-44.
We
It doesn't
need to
matter.
look at a map.
I'll have to pull up the freaking video of the traffic stop.
Yeah.
'Cause that's
Okay. Okay, light changes and then you go. Both of you go north on Lincoln
To I-44.
to the access to Interstate 44.
Correct.
Okay. After you lost sight of the police car, what did you do?
I was looking for my phone. My phone was sitting in the center. I was going to call my daughter. I started looking. I was so scared. I thought my phone. I thought he had taken it.
Miss Ligons, why were you going to call your daughter and not call 911?
At that point in time, I have no idea. That's the first thing popped in my head was to call my daughter on the phone, tell her what happened because I was going to her house. I just thought to call her.
I know why she wouldn't call 911 because she was driving illegally and she didn't want
Yep.
another
Right.
cop
Hell
checking
no.
on her.
Maybe Buster for no driver's
you-
license
No driver's
Right.
license.
and hydrocodone or whatever she had.
Yeah.
And she smoked 2 joints.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find your phone?
After, yes, I thought he had taken it, but then I started feeling for it. I reached up under my seat in the car. It was up under me. I was sitting on it.
Wonder if she was swerving again.
Yeah.
Actually, she finds her phone before they take off. That's why Daniel left
Oh,
and
that's what
didn't
took her.
follow her because he's waiting for her for not very long. I mean,
Yeah, it
not
wasn't
even a
very long.
minute, I don't even think. But,
Yeah.
He gets in the car. She's
He's
already
ready to
in the
go.
car. Yeah, he wants her to take off, and she's not going. She's not going. She's not going because she's looking for her phone.
He says, "Screw it,
And
I'm
so
going
he
home."
says, screw it, and he goes home, and then she pulls
Mhm.
out right behind him. So I believe she had her phone already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it line 10?
Yes.
Okay, you had mentioned yesterday that you assumed that he looked through your car. Is that one of the reasons you assumed that? Because was your phone not where you left it?
No, the papers and my things in my purse was disturbed. There wasn't as is when I left out the car. No,
When you got out of the car at the traffic stop, do you remember where you believe you had left your phone?
I know where I left my phone, sir.
Where was it?
In the cup holder right in the center, next to the cup right there. It was sitting right there in the center where I always leave it.
So the cup where the Kool-Aid is
Uh-huh.
and another cup holder.
Correct. Yes.
And when you found it, where was it?
Up under the seat. Well, it was in the seat. I didn't know it. I sit on it until I started feeling for it, and then I raised up because I didn't see it, and I felt up under me, and I was sitting on it.
Did you call your daughter?
No,
Well, why not?
I just drove straight to her house.
All right. When you got there at the house, what did you do?
Oh gosh, I was so frantic. I was just screaming. I was hollering. She was in bed sleeping, and also her kids. She jumped up, say, "Mama, what's wrong?" I said,
Was Mr. Long there as well?
he was there. I was getting ready to take him to work. I was, I was, I was just, I was so afraid. I'm sorry, I'm crying. I just hate talking about this. I was so afraid. But anyway, when I got to my daughter's house, I was just screaming and crying. I was frantic. And she was like, "Mama, what's wrong?" And I told her what happened. And she jumped up. She say, "We finna go to the police station." And I said, "Okay." I said, "I'm ready to go." So she got the kids out of bed. Her boyfriend was there, Ricky, at the time. They all jumped up and she called the police division first. She didn't get no answer at Spring Lake Drive. She didn't get an answer.
Okay, your daughter actually called the Spring Lake Division?
Oh yeah, she called. She called. She called before we even left. We didn't get an answer, but then we called downtown to the division and someone answered at that division.
Is there a reason she didn't call 911 or do you know?
At that point I don't even know why we didn't call 911. I just wanted to go to police. A police.
Miss Liggins, had she kind of taken what you guys were going to do, or were you still
No, no, no.
okay?
No, no. She was just thinking because I was just frantic, she was just helping me out. I'm in a state of mind at that point in time. I wasn't even thinking clearly because of what had just happened.
Okay, did she make the phone call or you make the phone calls?
She made the phone calls.
She made, so she told you she called Spring Lake Division
Yeah, yeah,
and no one answered,
yes, yes.
and then she called the
There was nobody answered.
main number to the Oklahoma City Police Department.
Right, because I was there. No one answered.
No one answered.
No one answered, sir.
So what happened next?
We got the kids out of bed, got them dressed. At this point in time, when we get dressed, we all get in her SUV. And Richard get in our car because he was getting ready to go to work because he was going to follow us to the police station halfway. He was going to be late for work and didn't want to go all the way, but he wound up going all the way. But
Where'd you go?
we went to the Spring Lake Police Division
Why'd you go there?
to tell them what happened.
That's just where you thought you should go?
Yeah, that's where I thought I should go. I didn't.
So you went back over to the east side?
I went back to the east side, correct.
And Richard followed in his car because he was going to work.
In his car, yeah. He was following us in his car.
And his car is the red Grand Am.
Correct. Now,
Okay.
actually, wasn't it a couple hours later they went
Well,
to the
here,
police?
that's what I'm saying is there's a big, so she drives straight home. She tells Marissa jumps out of bed, says, "We're going to the police," calls the police station, gets the
Right.
kids, gets dressed, and they head out. Really, this doesn't, and she's saying that Richard's going to be late for work. It's like 3:00.
Yeah.
Richard doesn't go to work until 4:30 or 5.
Well,
So
her
what
stop
really
was at
happened is got to get their story straight first for a
her
couple
stop was
hours.
just after 2, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
And it lasted 15 minutes, something like that.
Yep.
right.
So
Yep.
she
I
had
don't
to be
know.
home before 3, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
guessing
what
no
Got
I
later
home
was.
than
by 2:30.
2:30, 2:40.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus,
I say, yeah, I say if you give her between 2:45 and 3,
Plenty of time.
3 is
at the
a
latest.
lot of time to get there.
Stretching it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Plus,
just
now,
wait.
now they've got 4 kids, 3 adults, or 3 adults, I guess.
Why
So
the hell didn't they just call 911? Have somebody come to
right,
them?
right, exactly.
She's left out the part, right, where they called the relative.
The relative.
The-
Yeah.
Yep, that whole
And
part got
Once
left out.
again. Hmm.
And just wait until, I think we're actually, not tonight, but I think we're actually going to read Richard Long's testimony and Marisha's, because you're going to see some huge discrepancies in
Oh,
what
wow.
both of them say. So I might try to sneak that in sometime over the weekend or something, because it's very, very important to this that we read that. So
yeah, none of their stories line up.
not at all. Richard's is the most outrageous.
Line 7.
Sorry. Okay, when you get to Spring Lake, what happens?
We went inside the police division. It was dark. It was no lights. We drove in. It was dark. Weren't no lights nowhere, like nobody been there. We tried to go around to the back, but it was like locked up. But there wasn't anybody there at that division. We didn't see anyone.
Okay, and let me understand when you say you went in the division, you mean you went into the parking lot?
We went into the parking lot.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So nobody works third shift at the police department. They just shut down at the Spring Lake division. Is that what I'm getting from her?
I didn't know this. I don't know
Weird.
this.
I'm sorry. Yeah, went to the parking lot of the division.
No, oh wait. The lights. You didn't see lights. You didn't see lights on in the division.
No, it was black. It was no lights whatsoever. No lights.
Did you try to get anybody's attention in there? What'd you do?
No, wasn't anybody attention to get. It was dark. Nobody was even there.
So what'd you do then?
We drove off, and we finna head, just driving head on, trying to just driving like back towards her house. It seemed like, I don't know. We just start driving. All right.
Oh my God.
There in Lincoln, we saw 2 police officers sitting there, and they was like talking right there at the motel.
You're motioning with your hands. You mean one car was parked one way?
This way,
And one was parked the other way. The driver's sides are close together.
We talked them right before we get on the highway. We made a U-turn and went over there and talked to them. He was telling them what happened. We was.
When you saw those police officers, I understand you went.
Sir, deputy, would you confiscate that camera? That man's trying to take a picture. Thank you. Apologize. You may proceed.
Who's that?
Really?
Who's the man trying to take a picture?
That
Mhm.
was
Daniel
his,
said there was
it's Royal Long. He's related to Richard.
okay.
We're going to read that part. That part will be read.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
Ma'am, you see the police officers, what goes through your mind that go tell them for help, or what are you thinking?
What went crossing through my mind was I was afraid.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was the man that did that. I was afraid to talk to him. I didn't think I was finna get in another predicament.
What
Miss
does
Liggins, let
mean?
me ask
What
this
does
question.
I'm sorry. What does
Going
venom?
to. I think it's going to.
Okay, slang for going to. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Gonna. Finna.
Oh, what, finna?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finna is fixing to.
Yeah, that's what I was
Fixing.
thinking.
Yeah,
Oh, you're right.
yeah. Which
Fixing to.
same
Same
thing.
thing as going to. Yeah.
Miss Liggins, let me ask this question. I didn't mean to interrupt, but let me ask this question. You say you saw these officers back on Lincoln?
Correct.
Were you in the same location where the assault had occurred, or were you somewhere else on Lincoln?
When that's where the assault occurred on Lincoln. It was like I was west. It was like going like the highway east, maybe. They were pointed like they were at the motel, like sitting in the front, talking in the parking lot.
So close to the same location?
Yes, sir, close to the same location. Now, isn't
Yes,
that weird?
it
That
is
she
Very.
would
weird.
even want to approach them. You know, that's weird.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to be driving right back over to where it happened.
No, not at all. Huh.
I mean, if you're over in your other neighborhood in a different sector and you call 911, you know you're not going to get the same police officer coming out.
Right. I would think you'd feel much safer that way, especially if you're scared for your life.
Right.
Yesterday, you described the type of car. It had big police letters on the side, and you saw that?
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes, sir.
Were they the same type of cars, or do you know?
I think one was and the other one wasn't. I'm not mistaken.
One was an older black and white kind of car?
I think the other one was the other one is a police car. That's what I thought it might have been him. I remember that.
But nonetheless, you stopped.
I stopped. She was
And what?
driving.
No, her daughter was.
Right.
I stopped. And what happened whenever you stopped and made, well, first of all, was either one of those officers the same officer that assaulted you?
No, sir.
So what'd you do?
I got out my daughter's car. Well, daughter and I both got out. We was talking to the police officers and tell them what happened. And they called the lieutenant or some other guy, and he came and did a report. We sitting there wait for him. They told me I need to go to the hospital, and I say that's fine, I'll go. So in the process of waiting on the police officer, we was sitting there talking. They was making a report. They asked me to get into the police car so they could do a report. And I said I wasn't getting in without my sister's boyfriend. I wasn't getting in another police car. And at first, when I did get,
Did you say your sister's boyfriend?
I mean my daughter.
Your daughter's boyfriend?
I'm so sorry. Excuse me. Excuse me. I apologize. My daughter. My daughter.
Did you get in the police car with your daughter's boyfriend, or did they do the report?
I'm going to take that back. At
Hold on a
first, I
second.
did.
Hold on a second. Line 5. Just again. So if it's 3 adults and 4 children. So unless they've got an expedition or an excursion or a huge
She
suburban,
said
how does
SUV, so
how does
Now,
7 of them
her,
fit?
her, her boyfriend's driving his own car. He followed him
Uh,
because he had to go to
No,
work.
no, that's Richard.
That's Richard that's got his car. They're talking about
Right.
Ricky.
So there still would be 7, wouldn't there? Yeah, you're right.
That's right.
Yeah.
How did they all fit in unless it's one of them giant ones, it's got triple, third row seating in the back. How do they all fit in there?
I don't
they
know.
must have third boy. They must have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either in this trial testimony or in Richard Logg's or Marisha's, but they say the type of car it is.
I'd be interested in finding out what that is.
Yeah, I'll get
I'm
those
sorry.
PDFs for you.
Okay, line 5 so she can redo her story.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that back. At first, I didn't. I got into the car by myself in the back seat, and I started looking around. And I started saying to them, "Let me out! Let me out of here! Let me out this police car!" And they said,
God.
"We can understand that," and they let me out.
You talked to the police there?
No,
Yeah,
God, no,
yeah,
I didn't talk. God.
yeah, but they let me out. I did it on the outside. Yes,
Told them what happened.
correct.
Did you go to the hospital and see a nurse?
Yes, yes, sir.
Did you tell her what happened?
Yes, sir.
During that process, did she try to get any physical evidence by taking samples?
She took a DNA swab of my mouth.
Tell me how she did that. What'd she do that you remember?
As far as I could remember, she took a swab and put it in my mouth.
Rubbed it around on your cheeks?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's all she did because that's all he did was with my with his my mouth.
After you, let me ask you this question. Can you estimate for me the time from the time that this assault occurred when you were on that traffic stop with the officer? How much time did it take you to drive home, tell your family, go back to Spring Lake, and then find these officers and eventually get transported to the hospital? Which hospital was it that you got transported to, if you remember?
Southwest Integris, I do believe
Back on the south side of Oklahoma City.
that's where they took me.
How much time went on from the time that this police officer's penis was in your mouth until they did that swab?
I'd say within an hour, hour and a half tops.
Oh my God.
No.
Wow. Not even
No.
close.
Hour and a half?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Miss Ligons, do you see the police officer who did those things to you and put his penis in your mouth in this courtroom?
I do, sir. I just want to say, why didn't that nurse swab her lips?
She
Yep.
did.
Oh, okay.
She did the
Okay.
outside of her mouth too.
Okay.
So it was
Good.
2 swabs.
Man,
Or
I
more than
can't
two.
think of the evidence numbers, but I believe when Doc broke that down, that that's correct, that there were 2 swabs.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think so too.
But they both came back negative for
Yep.
anyone else's DNA except her own.
Right.
Right.
Okay, can you describe where he's sitting and what he's wearing?
He's sitting on the end right there with that black suit and with that blue and white tie on with that white shirt.
Ask the record to reflect identification, Your Honor.
All right, record will reflect identification of the defendant by this witness.
Miss Liggins, during that conversation with the other police officer, when you were telling them what happened, do you remember describing what the officer looked like to that police officer?
I did.
Okay. Do you remember telling him about hair color?
I did, and I did say his hair was blonde
Why'd you say that?
because I was afraid, and his lights was shining. Those lights was going on, and
You mean not the flashlight?
no,
You're talking about the lights on the police car?
the police car was shining, and that was just trying to look up, and the lights from the white and the red, and just kind of looking up at. I didn't try to look at his face too much, with his hair, but I saw his face very well. I know I never forget his face, but his hair, I just didn't get the hair color right because of his lights on the top of the car looked different colors to me.
Do you have any doubt
Hey.
about your identification of him in the courtroom?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No. I need to break for just a minute and change rooms here. Eddie just walked in.
Okay.
Okay.
What we got in the chat, people?
Well, I was just going to ask you, Kay, do they have red lights on top of their police car still in Oklahoma City? I thought they were blue lights.
At that time, I can't really remember exactly.
I mean,
It seems
red
like
one-
we've had the strobes for a really long time.
I
Yeah,
thought
red-
they looked white in the video, but
yeah.
maybe
But
they would have looked that way no matter what.
I'm just thinking, that red and blue got separated decades ago because red is fire department and ambulance, and blue is police. Blue and white sometimes, but not red. I mean, their taillights might flash, when they're in code, but not on top of the damn car, and certainly not anything in the front of the car. Sometimes these various departments have flashing or a strobe type thing going off in the front of their car, and the grill and that kind of thing. But
Man, I'm going to have to go back and try to find that. I know I knew this at one time, but there are just so many elements of this case. It's really hard to.
well, and so many lies, and just muddying up the case. I mean, she completely got his hair color wrong, right?
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
completely.
and it's so interesting to me that she's citing the same reason she got the hair color wrong for, I can't remember which officer who was a more ranking officer. Kim Davis says, oh, sergeant or captain or lieutenant so-and-so said right away, oh yeah, everybody's hair looks blonde under the lights. It's interesting that she pulled that out too. Almost like she's been coached to say that.
Well, in trial testimony is the only time she says it.
Right.
She never
Yeah,
offers
she's
an
never-
explanation for the blonde hair comment at any other time.
Yeah. Well, they've got everything all buttoned up by trial as much as they can. It's crazy.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, there's other things she says too, and it's really aggravating for me, probably for other people too, of what Giger does. So you talk to the police officers, and she's sitting in a police car. I mean, what kind of question is that? To me, it's just it's beyond ridiculous.
Mhm.
I agree. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yep.
Okay, good. I'm back.
All right. Do we have anything in the chat while we're stopped here?
No, I've been kind of watching just a lot of making fun of Southern slang, fixin',
Yeah.
fixin' to finna,
Finna.
yeah. So,
Finna. What line are we on?
10.
Approach, Your Honor.
You may approach.
Ma'am, I'm going to hand you what I've marked as State's Exhibit number 1. I'm going to just ask if you recognize that photograph. Do you remember when that photograph was taken?
It was taken at the hospital.
All right. Is that a picture that the SANE nurse took of you?
Yes, sir.
Had you changed clothes at that time?
No,
From the clothes you were wearing whenever the police officer stopped and assaulted you?
no, sir.
So that's the blouse you had on?
That's the blouse I had on.
And is it essentially the way you looked that evening?
No,
Well, I'm sorry. Is the way it's the way you looked when they took the picture? What the
that's the way I looked when they took the picture.
And that picture was taken at Southwest Medical Center.
Correct. What the
Offer
hell?
states. Hey, what was that all about?
Yeah.
That's the way you looked that evening? No. Well,
I
I
don't know.
guess it probably was.
Yeah.
It's not
I
like
should
he
think
ripped your
so.
clothes or anything. What would
Right.
be different? Maybe your
I
face was more upset or something.
ho-
Offer states 1.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted without objection.
Miss Ligons, I'm also going to show you states exhibits number 6, 14, 15, and 16. Do you recognize what's depicted in these photographs, ma'am? Is that your car?
That's my car.
And that's the car you were driving the night this happened?
Correct.
And obviously, I may have neglected to ask, was it, I'm sorry, we've went through it. Come on, Gigger. We've went
Jesus
through
Christ.
it.
Uh,
Frickin' attorney who can't speak English.
no
It was
kidding.
2 a.m. when the assault happened, about give or take.
Uh-huh.
These photographs were obviously taken in the daylight, correct?
Correct.
Is that essentially the way your car looked as you remember it whenever you were pulled over and at least got back in the car and drove it home? What a
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. I noticed there's a cup depicted in some of the pictures. Is that the cup that you've talked about that has the Kool-Aid in it?
Yes, sir.
And it was still there when these photographs were taken?
Yes, sir.
Offer 6, 14, 15, and 16.
No objection, Your Honor.
All
So
right,
where was her car photographed at?
I think they went to Chesapeake and photographed it after Richard drove it to work.
And it wasn't even
Okay.
her car. It's not her car.
Right.
Yeah, they went to Chesapeake, got it, did it there.
Where he works. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, States Exhibit number 6, 14, 15, and 16 will be admitted without objection.
That's your car, Miss Liggins?
Yes, sir. At the point in time that, yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. This is the interior of your car, is that right?
Yes, sir.
I'm pointing at the cup. Is that the cup that you referred to with the Kool-Aid in it?
Yes, sir.
Are we repeating
Didn't
ourselves?
you just ask me that? Yeah.
Like 7 lines ago, he just asked her that same question.
This is number 15. It's just a little bit of a close-up of that. And then on number 16, you can actually see some of the red Kool-Aid that was in the cup.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. Is that the way I can see the lid that goes on the cup in State's Evidence number 16? Can you see that, ma'am? The plastic lid?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Was that on the cup whenever you got out, or was it like that when you got out of the car, or
It was on the cup.
it was on the cup? Okay. Do you recall yourself taking the lid off?
No.
Okay. Miss Liggins, during this time period in 2014, were you taking prescription hydrocodone?
No, sir.
Were you selling it? Oh, wait, that's not what it says. Did you have prescription hydrocodone prescribed to you that might have been in the car that you hadn't been
Taking.
talking? Taking.
Taking.
Yeah.
No, sir.
Positive about that?
I'm positive. Mr. Giger?
Line 25.
Oh, sorry. Approach, Your Honor.
Yes.
I was waiting for Cherie. Show you State's Exhibit number 2, ma'am. This is a document. Ask if you remember the police department giving you that document and you signing that.
I do.
Is that essentially a piece of paper that gave the Oklahoma City Police Department permission to search your car and go through it?
Correct.
And this is after you'd made your police report, correct?
Correct.
Offer States 2.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, States Exhibit number 2 will be admitted without objection.
And just so the jury can have a chance to know what we're talking about, ma'am, it says waiver of search of motor vehicle, and it has your name and your red Grand Am described on it, correct?
Correct.
Again, it's not her car. Why didn't they get
That's right.
Richard? I mean,
Yeah.
what the hell, man?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Kim Davis, one of the detectives, name is on it, and then down here at the bottom it shows that you signed that. Is that right?
Correct.
And on June 18th of 2014, correct?
Correct.
All right. Just 1 minute.
Yes.
Miss Liggins, that's all the questions I have for you right now. Miss Adams? What?
Yes. Yeah, Miss Adams.
Ms. Adams.
Hey, Miss Adams. Hey, girl, you got any questions?
What
Just
an
don't look at
asshole.
my bra.
Adams. This reporter is not digging this, I guess.
Yeah.
Either that or
Miss
Galen
Adams
said
will have
Ms.
some-
Adams.
Oh, maybe he did. He's a dumbass.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
Miss Adams will have some questions for you, I anticipate.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, cross-examination.
Are we
Miss
continuing
Adams,
on?
it's
Or
your
are we pausing, or what are we doing? We can continue moving on.
That's up to Rhonda.
Oh, yeah, you can, I mean, unless there's something y'all want to discuss, you can go
No,
on.
no. I was just curious before we started the cross examination.
Well, let's hear it.
Alrighty. Ms. Ligons, so we can get a visual picture, everything you've testified to basically happened on June the 18th of 2014, correct?
Correct.
Now, you've testified that you're in a relationship with a guy by the name of Richard Long, correct?
Correct.
And you've been in that relationship for quite some time.
Correct.
Approximately how long have you had this relationship with Mr. Long?
About 20 years.
Okay. And Mr. Long, along with yourself, your daughter, 2 children, lived at a residence in the northwest Oklahoma City, correct?
Correct. Thought it was 4
Oh.
kids.
It's 4 kids.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But she says correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And on June the 17th of 2014, you went over to your friend's house, correct?
Correct.
And he lives over on the northeast side, which is the Spring Lake Division, correct?
Correct.
It's in an area you grew up in.
Correct.
You're very familiar with that area.
Yes, sir.
As we sit here today, you have no qualms or any reservations whatsoever about calling the police in case something happens, correct?
Correct.
And you never have, correct?
Correct.
Now, in regards to particularly on June the 17th, the day before, 2014, you left your daughter's residence and you went over to whose house on the northeast side? What was his name?
Mac.
What?
Mac.
Matt? You went over to Matt's house? And Matt's an individual you've known for, I think you testified.
Counsel, I think she's saying Mac. M-A-C.
Mac. M-A-C.
Uh-huh.
Mac.
Mac.
And his last name?
Cole.
Mr. Cole.
Correct.
Mr. Cole, you have known for approximately 6 or 7 years, correct?
Correct.
And you deny that you had any sort of romantic relationship with him.
Correct.
However, this is an event that you went to and you got there late in the evening, correct?
Correct.
Over at his house, Mac's house.
Correct.
And you drove Richard's car, correct?
Correct.
That red Grand Am that we've seen that's in evidence in Richard's car, correct?
Correct.
It's titled in his name.
Correct.
And you knew for a fact that Richard had to be at work at 4 a.m., approximately 4 a.m. in the morning at Chesapeake to work in the food service industry, correct?
Correct.
And you're responsible. No, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. And you're responsible for transporting Richard to Chesapeake in the morning for his job, correct?
Correct.
Now, what happens under your version of events is you do end up over at Mac's house late in the evening on the 17th, correct?
Correct.
And while you're over at Mac's house, you testified that you were playing cards and dominoes, correct?
Correct.
And there were some other individuals there.
Correct.
And that you had a friend that you testified on direct that pulled out a marijuana cigarette.
Correct. That's the only person that was there, sir.
So there's just 3 people there?
Correct.
Mac, the female's name.
Uh-huh.
What was her name?
Diane.
Diane was there, and she's the one that pulled out the marijuana cigarette.
Correct.
And yourself?
Excuse me?
And yourself, just you 3.
Yeah, just us 3, sir.
3 of you. And the 3 of you were just sitting there playing games, correct?
Cards and dominoes, sir.
Cards and dominoes. But you really didn't see anyone having any alcohol, correct?
No, sir.
But in any event, your friend pulled out the what you testified to be a small marijuana cigarette, correct?
As far as I know of, sir.
And I believe that you asked in direct examination that you seemed somewhat offended that she pulled out this marijuana cigarette, correct?
Concerned.
Because that's not anything you dealt with, right?
No.
You're agreeing with me that you don't deal with marijuana.
I don't deal with marijuana. No, sir, I don't.
And you certainly don't smoke it, do you?
I did that night, but I just do not.
Did you inhale?
I smoked it. I was getting smart, but I did one time only, and that was it.
One time only, and you're sure about that?
I'm positive.
You're as positive as you are about Mr. Holtzclaw doing all these vile things to you, correct?
I'm positive.
You're positive.
Yeah, I'm positive.
Well, do you recall being interviewed by Detective Davis on June the 18th of 2014 in the early morning hours at the hospital? Do you recall that?
Of course I do.
And were you rather upset? And you were rather upset, weren't you?
Of course I was.
And you told Detective Davis that you had smoked 2 joints.
No, I did not.
Let me back up. Did you tell Detective Davis that you had smoked 2 joints over at Mac's house on June 18th of 2014?
No, sir. She might have heard me wrong. No, sir.
Do you know why Detective Davis wrote in her report that you disclosed to her that you had smoked 2 joints over at Mac's house?
No, sir, because I did not. I wouldn't have no reason to lie. If I did, I would say I did, but I didn't. I'm not going to lie about anything. I'm just going to tell the truth.
Because drugs is not part of your life, correct?
Correct.
Never has been.
Not really. When I was young, maybe a teenager or so, yeah, but no, it's not. I had to grow up.
Well, even when after you were a teenager,
No,
were drugs ever part of your life?
no.
Well, do you recall being arrested
Your Honor, approach.
in a crack house?
Approach.
Come on.
Excuse me?
Hang on, ma'am.
My objection is it's not proper impeachment. To go into prior bad acts that don't result in felony convictions is outside the statutory scope of proper impeachment.
It's
Your Honor,
perfect impeachment.
It sure
Come
is.
on.
Your
Yeah.
Honor, it goes under 2405. They put the credibility of the witness on whenever she testified. She acts like she barely even smoked any marijuana. She's told the detective that she had 2 marijuana joints while she was over there. That's in the report. And in addition to that, she was arrested at the crack house where there was crack and a bunch of other things that I think could have had an impact in regards later on to her driver's license. And so I think it's totally relevant to her character here in front of this jury. She's professing that she didn't. She just testified under oath she had nothing to do with drugs while after her teenage years. and this certainly is after her teenage years.
Well, I'm not going to let you go into the specific instances of that. I'll let you rephrase the question or ask the question again. I don't know if I heard her say something about earlier, her teenage years, about having some.
Mr. Gray,
This
that's when
is
she's 32. This is when she's 32, Mr. Adams. This is not when she's a teenager. That's what I want crystal clear on the record. This is when she's an adult and she's arrested at a crack house with an enormous amount of crack and cooking utensils and other things. And she just said that she had no part of the drug life after her teenage years. And I'm simply trying to impeach the witness. That's very critical. That's a very critical witness at a very critical point, Your Honor.
and Your Honor.
So is the jury out of the room here? It must
No,
be.
They're
but
just
this is a
they're not
sidebar.
out. Yeah,
Oh,
this is
it's
just
sidebar. Yeah. Okay.
And Your Honor, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're talking about an event, an arrest in 1988, if I'm not mistaken. So we're almost 30 years removed, and she's admitted she used drugs earlier in her life. She's admitted she used drugs that night. It's not proper impeachment under the evidence code to be able to go into prior arrests and prior bad acts. That's not proper impeachment, despite Mr. Adams saying that it's critical. It doesn't matter if it's critical if it doesn't fit in the evidence code. And it's not impeachment. She's admitted that she's done it earlier. She's admitted that it's not part of her life now. She's admitted that she did it one time as an exception to the way she lives this one night, and it's been the closest evidence they have is 30 years removed. It's not proper impeachment.
Judge, she said that she was involved with it when she was a teenager. This is when she's in her 30s. Specifically, 2405 talks about specific instances, and that's exactly what this is.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you do. I will allow you to ask the question because she did quantify earlier when she was a teenager. I'm going to let you ask the question about afterwards because part of what has come up here is her talking about this, and it was brought up in direct examination about just having one hit or whatever it was. I'll let you ask the question about, have you had some issues with drugs after your teenage years? And then
if she denies it, then I'll impeach her with it.
Your Honor, I'm not trying to argue with the court.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
trying to just make my record, but the fact that someone is arrested is not proof that they were doing what they were arrested for. It's
Shit.
It's what we argue about every day, and I just don't believe it. She hasn't testified inconsistent with the theme of what we're talking about.
Bullshit.
Yes, she has.
What it says is a reputation for truthfulness in specific instances can go in if they are relevant. She's not lying.
well, I don't know yet. That's why I'm allowing one question. It's not 2609 impeachment evidence. So I'll allow that question and then we'll see where we go from there. I have a comment, Gigger, that just because they've been arrested, it's not proof that they've done what they're arrested for. Well, how come Daniel was fired or, lost his job at that predetermination hearing?
That's right.
Right.
Inquiring minds want to know. Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Good question,
Okay.
Sherry.
Very good question. Okay. Line 12 by Mr. Adams. Mrs. Ligons, you just testified that you were in your teenage years that you did have some drug issue, correct?
I said I smoked marijuana, but I didn't have drug issues, sir.
At any time during your adult years leading up into your 30s, did you ever have an opportunity to be around or see crack cocaine?
I did.
Were you ever arrested for crack cocaine?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Now, in regards to the events that you say happened on June 18th of 2014, you already admitted that you were in a relationship with Richard back at your daughter's house, correct?
Correct.
And you were over at Mac's house
Correct.
until after 2 p.m. I think it's supposed to be a.m., correct?
Right before 2. Might have been right at 2, but I don't think right after 2. I think I left before 2 or right at 2.
Jesus.
Well,
Wasn't
Well,
it between 2:02 and 2:07 or whatever
Yeah.
you said in preliminary?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
well, you drove over to Mac's house, correct?
Correct.
And you drive on a daily basis here on the streets of Oklahoma City, don't you?
My husband does all the driving mainly.
What husband? I thought it was a fiance.
Yeah.
Well, in this particular evening, you certainly were driving, weren't you?
I certainly were, sir.
Tell the jury when the last time you had a valid Oklahoma's driver's license.
Objection to the form of that question.
Overruled.
It's been a minute. Exact day I couldn't really even tell you, but the only thing about that, they say my driver's license was suspended, and I didn't even know that. I didn't know. Jesus.
What?
Here's the deal, guys. In 30 years, you have to get your driver's license renewed a few times. So
Yes, you.
she
Yeah.
didn't know.
Yeah.
All right.
You did not know when that your driver's license had been suspended.
I didn't know they were suspended. I thought I paid for the suspension. They told me I paid. They had sent me a letter in the mail a long time ago when I was staying at my mom's house years ago to turn in all my ID and everything that was related to my driver's license until I paid my driver's license. And I paid it. That's why I can't understand why the suspension is still there. And I went to try to find out why. And they say it's been so long ago they couldn't pull it up and said, well, I paid it, but they say didn't have no record of it. So I don't know.
So, Ms. Liggins, is your testimony here today that there is no reason whatsoever that your driver's license should be under suspension?
I don't think so.
Objection. Form of the question. It's argumentative and it's not what she testified to.
All right. Overruled. You can answer. I can't see it there.
can.
If you can.
If you can.
Okay, the truth of the matter is, Ms. Liggins, is you have not had a valid driver's license in the state of Oklahoma for in excess of 30 years.
If you say so, sir. I don't know. I don't think it's been that long.
Can you tell me the last time you were pulled over and produced a driver's license, a valid driver's license?
I don't really get pulled over.
Your Honor,
If you let me finish my question, I'll let you finish your answer. Can you tell the...
would you let me finish my objection before you ask a question?
I haven't asked a question.
All right. Ask a question.
Can you tell this jury when the last time you were pulled over by any police officer anywhere that you produced a valid driver's license?
And Your Honor, my objection is relevance.
Sustained.
Now, would you admit with me that on June 18th of 2014, you did not have a valid Oklahoma driver's license?
Asked and answered.
Overruled.
No, sir, I didn't.
And you were out after 2 a.m. in the morning.
I was, sir.
Then under your testimony after you And you would agree with me that the whole time Officer Holtzclaw had you stopped at 50th and Lincoln, his lights were going off, correct?
Correct.
And when I talk about his lights, I'm talking about the lights on top of the squad car that are illuminating and making a big disturbance, correct?
Lights on top of his car? Yes.
And you can see it from a very good distance, can you not?
Yes, you can.
And it stands out.
It stands out.
And have you had an opportunity to see the videotape of what we've described in here of you being pulled over at 50th and Lincoln?
Have I had? Repeat that.
Have you seen any videotape footage of the stop between you and Mr. Holtzclaw?
I seen some. No.
What? I don't. Okay, moving on. So do you deny that you have ever seen a video that apparently shows the stop between you and Mr. Holtzclaw?
I haven't seen no video.
Have you ever been shown a DVD or anything like that?
No.
Now, during this encounter with Mr. Holtzclaw, you told him you had no driver's license, correct?
I don't recall telling him. I don't even remember him asking if I had any driver's license.
Do you recall him asking you for your...
Excuse me?
Do you recall him asking you for your driver's license?
No. I just recall him asking me to get out of the car.
Do you recall him asking for you for anything?
No, I'm telling you, sir, I already...
All right, ma'am, hang on a second. Hang on. How we got to do this is
Okay.
you got to let him get his
Okay.
question out
Okay.
completely.
Okay.
Wait for his question to be completed.
Okay.
Then I'll make sure that he doesn't interrupt you
Okay.
when you give the answer, all right?
Okay.
She interrupted him like 7 or 8 times while he was talking. Do you recall Officer Holtzclaw, during your contact with him on June 18th of 2014, requesting of you your driver's license?
No, I don't.
Do you recall Officer Holtzclaw on June 18th of 2014 requesting your insurance verification?
No, I do not.
The truth of the matter is, you did not have either one of those, did you?
Yes, sir. Richard has his insurance in the glove. Yes, he did.
Okay. Did you have valid insurance verification?
He did, but I didn't. But it was insurance on the car.
Okay. Now, what time were you supposed to be home on, and when I say home, I'm talking back at your daughter's house on June 18th of 2014?
No certain time, sir.
Well, had you made any calls while you were over at Mac's house, either to your daughter or to Richard, to let them know what you were doing?
I always do.
Okay. Did you let them know you'd be home after 2 a.m.?
He already know.
Hang on a second. Y'all talk for just a second. I got to mute for just a minute.
Okay. He did ask her for her license, right? Because Daniel knew she didn't have one, didn't he?
Yeah, I remember him talking about it in the interview or interrogation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said she told him she didn't have one.
And he
So do
told
we
her
know?
when he cut her loose, he told her to go tomorrow to wherever it was and get her license.
So do
get
we
it
know
paid for.
why she lost her license?
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. As far as we know, it's been 30 years since she had one, is all we know. And I mean,
Maybe
So
it was
maybe
failure
on
to
that.
pay fines or something.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or when she was in the crack house, something to do with that.
Could have been.
I don't know what would make you lose your license other than
Driving.
like if she got arrested over that and then didn't pay all of her court costs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not paying fines and stuff like that.
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm gonna
Okay.
look and see.
Sorry, I'm back.
Okay.
Where were we at? Line 4?
Yeah.
Yes, line 4. When you say, quote unquote, he already know, who is he?
Richard.
Okay. So it's your testimony that Richard was not upset with you in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, no.
But in any event, after these alleged things happen that you testified to here today, you go directly to your daughter's house, correct?
Correct.
And you don't call her.
I was too hysterical to call her.
When you get to her house, you explain to her, or you tell her what happened.
Correct.
You also tell Richard what happened.
Correct.
Your version of what you told this jury, correct?
Correct.
And after you tell him what happened, your daughter and her kids, you get in her car, correct?
Correct.
And Richard gets in that Grand Am that we've seen a picture of.
Correct.
Then you attempted to go to the Spring Lake Division, and you say that it was not open, correct?
I did go, sir. It wasn't open.
And then after you left the Spring Lake Division, you proceeded down 50th, close to where you say the assault occurred, and you saw 2 officers, correct?
Correct.
Did Richard accompany you to go talk to these police officers?
No, he went on to work.
Richard, after discovering
Think.
that you have allegedly been assaulted by an Oklahoma City police officer, makes the decision to get in his car and go on to Chesapeake and go to work, correct?
Correct.
He did not go with you to talk to any police officers, correct?
No, he did not.
Did you ask him whether or not he would come with you, and did you ask him whether or not he would come with you and console you during this difficult time?
No, I did not.
He just took it upon himself to go to work?
Calls for speculation.
All right, sustained.
Now, you testified that during this stop with Officer Holtzclaw that you were required to place your hands on top of the squad car at the very beginning of the arrest, correct?
Correct.
Hold on a second. Thank you very much. Is that everything? Okay. And, okay, line 11. And you did that with your bare hands.
Correct.
And again, you haven't seen the video, so won't even get into that. But in any event, you talked about you have not been prescribed, nor have you taken any hydrocodone, correct?
Correct.
Now, in the vehicle, your purse was in there with Officer Holtzclaw. Looked inside your vehicle, correct?
Correct.
Your purse. Did you ever turn that over to Detective Davis to let her look inside your purse?
No, sir.
We've seen a search waiver that has been introduced into evidence here that talks about your vehicle in that red Grand Am, correct?
Correct.
What happened to your purse that was inside that vehicle when you were stopped by Officer Holtzclaw?
Excuse me?
What happened to the purse that was with you on June the 18th of 2014 when you were pulled over by Officer Holtzclaw?
It was still in the car.
It was still in the Grand Am?
Yes.
So that's certainly something you would expect if you signed the search waiver for the Oklahoma City Police Department to have inspected and searched, correct?
Form of the question.
Sustained.
No.
Hang on. Sustained. rephrase the question.
You've testified June 18th of 2014 during this stop with Officer Holtzclaw. He put you in the back seat of his car and he approached your vehicle, correct?
Correct.
At that time he approached your vehicle, your purse was in the vehicle, correct?
Correct.
And what color was the purse?
Wow, I've got so many purses. Almost 2 years ago, it was a black and gray one, or I think it was a black and gray Coach bag, if I'm not mistaken.
Black and gray Coach?
I think so.
Okay. And that would have contained all your personal effects, correct?
Correct.
Now, in the photographs that we've been introduced into evidence, I've not seen this black and gray Coach purse. Have you? Do you see it in any of the photographs that have been introduced?
No.
At any time did you ever turn over or give that purse to Detective Davis or any other detective that was working this case that you say began on June 18th of 2014?
No, sir. Didn't know I was supposed to.
But what you do say is that you've admitted this on direct, that you had at least smoked a little bit of marijuana and you had taken some PM pills, I believe you testified.
For my headache, yes, sir.
Asked and answered.
Oh my God! Like you've
Overruled.
like you've not repeated shit
Right.
47 times. God, what?
No,
What was the point of that shit anyway about the purse just now?
I don't
I mean,
know.
that,
I
and
don't
then
know.
you go to smoking marijuana. That doesn't even make any sense.
Don't
Maybe
know
it
what to
was
say.
like a side swipe or whatever at the police because they didn't do that. And
Right.
might have.
Well, I mean,
Go ahead.
she had been home, and I'm sure she took those pills out of her purse. I don't know if she took it to the hospital with her. She probably didn't.
Oh, could be.
But it wouldn't
Okay,
have still
so
been in the car.
let me understand. She does have a prescription for hydrocodone, or she had
No,
hydrocodone pills
she
with
did
her.
not
She
have a
said-
prescription. She
But
had
Daniel
Daniel
saw them
said
in there.
she had a few bottles in her purse, and he thought he saw her name on him. Now, what if he saw Marissa Ligons' name on him?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
He could have seen Ligons. I don't know.
Right.
They said hydrocodone, though, right?
That's what I mean. He said, I think it was hydrocodone.
Daniel said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Line 3. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Can I have just one moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right. Any redirect?
Just briefly, Judge, if I may.
All right.
I do have just one more bit of inquiry.
All right.
Ms. Liggins, would you agree with me that after these events on June 18th of 2014, that you have retained the services of a lawyer?
I can't say that, sir. I know you're talking about the time I got stopped.
No, I'm talking about, have you retained the services
Yes, sir, I have.
of a lawyer?
Hang on, ma'am. Let him finish his question.
Okay, apologize.
And have you sued not only Mr. Holtzclaw, but also the city of Oklahoma City?
Yes, sir.
And you're asking for money in that regard, correct?
Just asking for justice, really.
So you don't want any money?
It ain't necessary. That's my lawyers. I mean,
So
I don't.
when your lawsuit, just so I'm clear, that when it says that you're suffered injuries in excess of $75,000, you're telling this jury that it's not what it's really about, correct?
It's about my health and everything else. I suffered a stroke and all of the above.
You suffered a stroke after June 18th of 2014?
Yes, sir, I did. Yes, I did.
Are you relating that directly to the activities you allegedly say Mr. Holtzclaw is the cause of?
It had something to do with it. I'm not saying he is directly the cause of it. Say it has something to do with it.
And again, is your lawsuit against Mr. Holtzclaw and the city of Oklahoma City?
It is, sir.
And is it asking for money damages? Are you wanting money?
Yes, sir.
Pass the witness.
All right, thank you. Redirect?
Miss Liggins?
I'm confused here. Just one second. I thought Adams already passed her.
He
did,
did, but then he said,
but he-
"Hey, I have another inquiry."
Oh,
And the
Yeah.
judge
okay.
allowed
Oh,
it.
okay. All right. I was confused. I thought Giger was asking her that stuff. It's like, what?
No, he asked for one
Okay.
more inquiry before the redirect.
Okay.
Miss
112.
Liggins,
Yes.
your lawyer filed that lawsuit with your permission.
Judge,
Yes.
object to the form. I'm sorry. Say it again.
Don't lead.
Did your lawyer file that lawsuit
Yes, sir.
with your permission?
Yes, sir.
Did your lawyer talk about the amount of money that you'd asked for, or did you come up with that?
No, they did.
Miss Liggins, other than money from the city of Oklahoma City, can you think of anything else Oklahoma City could do to try to help you after what you've suffered?
Judge, again, object to the form.
Overruled.
Do I answer it?
Yes, ma'am.
In the city? No, sir.
Ma'am, tell me about what you've experienced emotionally after what this defendant did to you on that night.
Oh, my God.
Judge, object as relevance.
Overruled.
I went to therapy
For how long?
for months. To the Y over on May.
That changes at deposition. They help you?
Somewhat. Little bit. Yeah, they did a little bit.
Good. What else?
My blood pressure went up. Sky. My blood pressure went, at one time it went up to 258 over 252. I had a stroke.
He'd be dead.
Do you have dreams about this, ma'am?
Oh, no. Him in particular, no. But it's police cars. Any police car I see, anything, lights. At first, it's a frightening, scared to come out of my house. Every light I saw, my thought being his police car. I was scared to look out my windows. I was frightened for a minute. I don't know what to expect. I know if somebody out to kill me.
Miss Liggins, you've had to testify twice now in this case, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
When you get subpoenas in the mail to come testify, does it affect you?
It don't affect me because I have to testify, but I don't like talking about it.
A little earlier, Mr. Adams was asking you questions about your purse and whether or not you let Detective Davis look in your purse that day and those type of things. Did Detective Davis ever ask to look in your purse?
No, sir.
Okay. Miss Liggins, have you been truthful with Detective Davis?
I had, sir.
Had you told an Oklahoma City police officer, this one in particular, that you broke the law on June 17th and June 18th?
Judge, object to the form.
Overruled.
No, I did not.
Well, had you told her you smoked marijuana?
Yes, I did, sir.
What?
He's trying to show she's being honest by saying
Yeah,
she did something
but
illegal.
she's saying she doesn't know why
Yeah.
Davis put that in her report. She must have misunderstood her.
Yeah.
Do you know that's illegal?
Yes, sir.
And you told her that, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you tell her you took hydrocodone?
Judge, object to the form. It's all leading.
Overruled.
No, sir.
Why didn't you tell her you took hydrocodone?
'Cause I don't take hydrocodone.
That night, did you tell Detective Davis the things that were good that you had done and the things that were bad that you had done?
Yes, sir.
Judge, again, object to the form.
Overruled.
Did you hide anything from her?
No, sir. Not a thing.
Did you make your purse disappear so police couldn't look in it?
No.
Object to the form.
No, sir.
Overruled.
Okay, and your testimony, if I recall, was that you believe that this defendant looked through your purse that night.
Yes, sir.
The videotape that Mr. Adams asked you about, have I shown you a video or DVD of this traffic stop?
No.
Has Detective Davis shown you a DVD?
No, sir.
Did you know there was a DVD?
No, sir.
Mr. Adams asked you about how Mr. Long, your boyfriend, fiance, followed you over to some point, but then at some point went to work. Is that correct?
Correct.
Did he need his job?
Yes.
Okay. Was your family with you?
Yes, sir.
Who all was with you whenever he left and went on to work? Who was still with you?
My daughter, her kids, her boyfriend. Then my daughter-in-law came up to the hospital and my grandson came up to the hospital. Good Lord.
What the fuck for?
Yeah, really.
Right.
Since this event happened, has Mr. Long been laid off by Chesapeake along with a whole lot of other people?
Yes, sir.
Financially, time's hard right now.
Yes, sir.
Judge, again, I object to the form.
Sustained.
Counsel asked you about whether or not you'd been around illegal drugs since the time you were a teenager, correct?
Correct.
And I believe you said you had been.
Correct.
Ma'am, if I told you that what Mr. Adams was referring to happened in 1988, does that sound about right to your memory?
Yes, sir.
And if I'm doing the math right, ma'am, is that 28 years ago?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so from 28 years ago, when you were around people with illegal drugs, have you been using drugs?
I'm gonna lie and say no, sir.
Illegal or prescription?
No, sir.
Except for the night that you told this detective about.
Yes, sir.
You haven't been criminally charged with illegal drugs in your life.
Nope, never.
Judge, object to the form.
Sustained.
Have you been charged with illegal possession of legal drugs in your entire 59 years?
No, sir.
Judge, again, same objection. I think he's opened the door, and do I need to approach?
Your objection as to leading.
Leading.
Overruled.
I want to ask you something else, ma'am. Counsel asked a lot of questions about your driver's license. Do you remember that?
Correct.
I want to turn your attention, if I can, to 6 months. 6 months after this officer put his penis in your mouth, okay?
Oh my God.
Okay.
That's like a Kim Davis-ism.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Were you driving with a suspended license in January of 2015?
Yes, sir.
Did you get stopped by a police officer?
I did, sir.
Did that police officer stick his penis in your mouth?
Oh my God. No, sir.
What did that police officer do, ma'am?
He just wrote me a ticket. Called in. He said, that was so long ago. He said, I'm not going to take you to jail because that was so long ago in the 88. He said, I'm not going to take you to jail.
But he still cited you?
Yeah, only thing he said to me, if he done something like that, we want to take him to the alley and beat the mess out of him. He said those words to me. So she told him she was part of the case.
Yeah.
Oh, only thing he said to me, if he done something like that. Oh my gosh. Hmm.
Hmm.
Sorry, I'm looking for the line. My
21.
screen's jumping around with the script.
Oh,
Oh, he said something to that about he knew about this,
I told him. Yeah.
but even knowing about this he still gave you a ticket.
Yes, sir.
Did you call the DA's office and say, "Get me out of this ticket. Don't make me pay this"? Did you do that?
No, I paid the ticket.
Did you try to use it,
No.
your position, to make that go away?
Just paid the ticket.
So, on that occasion, when an Oklahoma City police officer found that you were driving illegally, he fined you.
Object to the form.
Yeah, he did.
Sustained.
Pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Adams, I'll let you recross on any of these items that were brought up that hadn't been brought up earlier.
Okay. You just testified that the allegations you made against Officer Holtzclaw required you to go to counseling, correct?
Correct.
You also testified that you didn't drive, correct? You don't like driving.
I told you, sir, I don't do much driving. Richard does all the driving.
Well, the counseling that you've had to go through, did it have anything to do with you having been in a crack house back in '88?
Your Honor,
No, sir.
can we approach?
I never been in a crack house.
Can we approach?
Come on up.
I never been in a crack house.
Hang on, ma'am.
There is absolutely no good faith basis that you can say that she went to counseling after this event because she was in a crack house 28 years ago. It's completely inappropriate.
He's brought up the 1980. He said you were involved in an 1988 event. I believe that takes it 28 years back.
I sure did.
Yeah, he got into all this, so I'm entitled to.
I didn't open the door to all. All I did was.
All right, hang on.
respond to what he's done.
Overruled.
Do you recall the 1988 event that Mr. Giger talked to you about
I do.
on redirect? Well, actually, it was a little bit. There was an enormous amount of crack found in that house, wasn't there?
It wasn't a house, sir.
Where you were.
It was a club, and I was working there. It wasn't a house.
Well, they actually found cooking utensils to make the crack cocaine, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. Can I approach?
Not that I know of, sir.
Hang on.
I don't know nothing.
Hang on. Sustained.
Was this incident the location of the 3200 block of Northeast 23rd Street?
Correct.
Okay. And in that, they also found smoking devices for crack cocaine. You were actually placed under arrest, were you not?
I don't know because I was working at that.
Same objection, Your Honor.
I was working
All right. Hang on.
at that club.
Sustained.
Your Honor, I need to approach.
All right. Come on.
If the court is not going to let me inquire into the 1988 arrest we're talking about, I'm going to ask to mark as court's exhibit number 1 the police report from that arrest because Mr. Giger brought it up on redirect, talked about it being back in 1988, being 28 years ago, and basically act like it was no big deal when there was a total of over 52 grams of crack, which is nearly 2 ounces of crack cocaine was found. There's also smoking devices. There was cooking utensils, a cast iron skillet where they were clearly cooking crack. There was a total of $856 was taken, and she was arrested. And I think I ought to be able to get into that to impeach her in regards to her credibility here today. And the court is not allowing me to go into it, and therefore I would ask to mark this police report as an exhibit for future review.
Your Honor, none of these charges were put on her. Nothing was filed on her. There was no prosecution of her. She said, I was at the place. It wasn't my stuff. She's testified enough to it. The entire reason of going into what... Oh, man. My screen just went black.
Line 13.
She testified enough to it. The entire reason of going into what I went into is to try to, over objection, the court allowed counsel to ask something that happened 28 years ago that didn't result in an arrest. And in fact, whenever asked specifically, she answers truthfully and said, yes, I was there. All he wants to do now is try to impugn her unfairly by being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he has no evidence to say she ever possessed any of it.
Well, I've allowed you to ask about the arrest, that you were arrested in this crack house or club or whatever it is she says it was. But I'm not going to let you go into the specific amounts and how many of those syringes were there and those kinds of things. I don't think that's relevant for this part. I've allowed you to ask generally about the arrest. It started off with did the counseling, is it a result of this arrest? I've allowed you to do that, but I'm not going to let you go into, the specific amounts and those kinds of things.
At this time, then, I would ask to mark this incident report that I would go into great detail about as a court's exhibit number 1, and I'll supplement that at the next break if that's okay.
Okay, you want to offer it now?
I want to offer it now. Court's exhibit number 1.
Was that the year 1988 for the report?
Yes.
All right, you want to make any other record?
Well, just that I would go into great detail about what's contained in that report in regards to who all was present, that she was placed under arrest, that there was close to 2 ounces of crack cocaine found there. And in addition to that, there was cooking utensils showing that there was the manufacturing of crack cocaine. I would additionally get into that the discretion of whether or not to charge her lies with the very DA's office who is currently prosecuting Mr. Holtzclaw. Whether they chose to prosecute her or not, I don't care. But she was certainly arrested. She was there. And I would get into the detail about all the elements and items that were found there.
In 1988, I was a junior in college. I wasn't working for the DA's office.
Well, I understand the point of the officer. So for the record, I've allowed you to inquire generally into that arrest of that situation. And so therefore, I think the last objection is sustained then.
Ms. Ligons, when you testified on redirect that you were reluctant and you didn't want to drive, you still drive, don't you?
Periodically, not really, because I have no vision in my my right eye. I lost sight in my left. I have no vision in my right. I can't really drive at all.
Are you claiming that has anything to do with this stop back in June 18th of 2014?
Has a lot to do with it, sir.
That stop made her go blind?
She had an eye stroke.
Yeah. Okay, so the stop that you're claiming that happened back in June 18th of 2014 subsequently requires you to go blind in your right eye?
I'm not saying it had something to do with it. I just think it's made me go blind. It has a lot to do with it. Got stressed out a lot behind that.
And is that included in your lawsuit?
No, sir. No, it's not. I don't think so.
In your reluctance to drive, we do know for a fact that you were driving on Oklahoma City streets without a valid driver's license back in January of this year, 2015, correct?
Correct.
And you were pulled over by a patrol officer here in Oklahoma City, correct?
Correct.
And you were pulled over for not having a driver's license, but you were pulled over for improper tag, correct?
Improper tag.
Okay. And again, this is Richard's car, correct?
Correct.
And when you were pulled over for improper tag, the officer had you sit in the back of the... Is there something I said that's wasting your time?
No, sir. No, sir.
Your Honor, argumentative.
Sustained, just ask questions.
You just rolled your eyes at.
No, sir.
Is there something I'm asking you that's bothering you?
No, I never rolled my eyes. Just took a deep breath.
God. Well, in any event, whenever you're pulled over by this Oklahoma City police officer in January of this year with an improper tag, he asked you for your driver's license, correct?
Correct.
And you told him you didn't have it on you at that time.
No, I told him I didn't have it.
Well, actually, when he said, "Do you have a state driver's license?" you said, "Not with me." Quote unquote, "not with me." Would that be a fair statement?
I can't recall. Just know I didn't have it.
I'm sure. After further inquiry, he found out that you had been suspended for an excess of 30 years, correct?
Correct.
He placed you in the back of his squad car, correct?
Correct.
And he pulled up on the computer and noticed that you had made allegations against the Oklahoma City Police Department in this case, correct?
No. Bigger. Find one.
Oh, sorry. Calls for speculation unless she knows.
All right. Do you know whether he did that or not, ma'am?
He did not. I told him about that. He didn't pull anything up.
Okay. You told this patrol officer that you had pulled. You told this patrol officer who had pulled you over for a traffic offense about what you told the jury here today.
I didn't tell him exactly what I told him. I just told him that that police officer stopped me. He was just a nice guy. He was just sitting there laughing and talking, and I was in the back seat.
Laughing and talking about
It was just conversation.
what happened on June 18th of 2014?
Excuse me?
Were you laughing and joking with the officer?
No, not that.
Hang on, ma'am. Let him ask his question.
Okay.
We've established that you were pulled over in January of 2015, correct?
Correct.
You just testified that you were laughing and joking with the officer that pulled you over of January 5th, 2015, correct?
Correct.
And you were laughing and joking about what you say occurred on June the 18th of 2014.
No, sir.
You just testified that you told the patrol officer of what allegedly happened to you on the 18th day of June of 2014, correct?
Correct.
What did you tell him?
Relevance.
Overruled.
I was telling what happened to me with Daniel Holtzclaw. That he was I just said I'm the lady that Daniel Holtzclaw had stopped that was on the news. I'm the one that the report had on news. I was on Channel 9. That's all I really said about it. And then he said, you know what we like to do? We like to get together and take him
Your Honor, hearsay.
in the alley and beat the mess out of him. That's what he said to me.
All right, ma'am. Hang on. Don't testify what somebody else said. Just say what you said at that point.
Okay.
So why did you feel the need to even bring up the Daniel Holtzclaw to this officer who stopped you on January of 2015?
Well, I didn't feel the need. I just mentioned it.
Were you trying to get out of the ticket?
No.
Okay, well, it required that police officer to call in the supervisor, did it not?
Your Honor, again, I don't know how she would know what she's requiring the officer to do.
If you know, ma'am, do you know what happened then?
No.
Do you recall a supervisor coming to the scene in January of 2015 when you were issued a traffic citation?
No.
You don't recall that?
No.
Do you recall the officer telling you that?
Hearsay, Your Honor.
Ask the question and then make your objection.
Do you recall the officer telling you that he doesn't want to take you to jail?
Correct.
And do you recall the officer releasing you in the field and letting you call a family member to come and get the vehicle?
Correct.
He didn't tow it, correct?
Correct.
Then all you had to do at that point in time was to pay the ticket.
Pay a ticket.
Now, there was also some discussion with Mr. Giger on redirect about you admitting to this illegal narcotic usage to the Detective Davis back in June 18th of 2014. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, you took a very little bit of marijuana, correct?
Correct.
But again, whenever you talked to Detective Davis in the early morning hours of June the 18th of 2014, you told her specifically that you had smoked 2 joints on the June the 18th of 2014, correct?
Asked and answered.
All right, sustained.
Your Honor, they brought it up in redirect.
I don't.
May I approach?
Come on up.
Your Honor, I'll agree that I brought this up in cross-examination. However, on redirect examination, he again inquired into the witness of whether or not she admitted to the illegal narcotics being consumed on June 18th of 2014. And her response was, yes, I told her I had very little. And she just admitted that again on the stand. I think now to further impeach her, I need to go into exactly what Detective Davis' report states, is that she was told that she'd smoked 2 marijuana cigarettes, which is enormously different than a very small amount or a puff. And I think I'm entitled to get into that. And if the court's going to sustain this objection, I would make that offer of proof that she would, that would be what I would be asking this witness about.
Well, I think you already have done that. And when I allow recross, it is to allow you to recross on something new that was brought up in redirect. So if it was already brought up on direct and it was cross-examined about, then it's not right for recross. So you've already asked her about that. She's already admitted that, or at least you brought that up, that it was in the report that she smoked 2.
Okay. Just so the record's clear, she has denied that she's ever made that statement to Detective Davis. And, again, I'm giving her an opportunity to correct the statement that she's made to Detective Davis that is reflected in the report that she has smoked 2 joints. And I think I'm entitled to get that due to his redirect. And again, I think this goes to fundamental fairness.
I thought I've already heard that. Did I not?
No, Your Honor, I'm not disputing that. In my cross-examination, I brought up the fact that she supposedly told Detective Davis that she had smoked 2 joints. However, on redirect, he got up and said that she admitted to very little marijuana. She has just admitted on recross. I'm trying to give her an opportunity to change her sworn testimony that, in fact, that she did make that statement to Detective Davis on June the 18th of 2014, that she has smoked 2 joints, which is a huge difference.
Any response?
It's asked and answered, Judge. She's consistent in her testimony. He's just trying to badger her.
All right, I'll let you ask that one question very specifically.
Okay. You just admitted that on June the 18th of 2014, you admitted to ingesting illegal substances, correct?
Correct.
Do you also agree with me that when you were interviewed by Detective Davis on the early morning hours of June the 18th of 2014, you specifically told her that you had smoked 2 joints while you were at Mac's house?
I don't remember saying that. I told her I hit a marijuana joint. If I said I must have been delirious because there's no way I smoked 2 joints.
No, hilarious.
Right. If I said that was a mistake on my part because I did not. I can't change that. I didn't. If I said that, I'm wrong.
So you were baked when you were talking to Kim Davis because you'd
Yeah.
smoked 2 joints, but
And
now
she
you
was
want to change
driving
your
home.
Yeah,
She
that
was
too.
delirious. She was
Yeah.
delirious.
Yeah. Right.
Do you know whether or not your statement that you made to Detective Davis on the early morning hours of June the 18th, 2014 were recorded in any way by video or audio?
I don't know, sir.
Pass the witness.
1 second, Judge.
All right.
No questions, Judge.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. You can step down.
Wow, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
That's long.
Yeah, it was long, but we are going to read. It's just a couple pages about the guy taking pictures.
Oh,
So-
okay.
That gives me better insight into Jannie than I had
Yeah.
before.
Me too.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah,
I think she's a big
yeah.
old liar.
So do I.
Yeah.
Huge liar.
I do think she was scared for her life that night. I think that was
Right.
ridiculous, but I just think, yeah, because of what was going on, she hadn't been stopped in a long, long time, it sounds like. But yeah,
And she
she was
smoked a couple
scared.
of she smoked a couple of she took smoked a couple of joints, and now she gets pulled over. I bet she
Yeah,
was scared because she was fucking
yeah.
baked.
Paranoid. Yeah.
And then, she gets to her daughter's house. She's so upset and
Yeah.
over the top. And they come up with this scheme
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
to get back at him.
That's right. Yep. There were lawsuits and everything else going on all around the country at that time. It was crazy. I'm not saying all of them were wrong to have happened, but in this instance,
Yeah. Okay, this is just this isn't very long. This is regarding the guy who was taking pictures in the courtroom when the judge told the bailiff
Oh,
to
Royal
grab
Long.
that. Yeah. So, Cherie, if you just want to read the court. Jack, do you mind reading the Royal Long part? It's not very much.
Not a problem. Where we go to here? Pass witness.
Sorry, it's page 580 or PDF
Yeah.
page 114.
Yeah, I see it.
So, Cherie on line 4.
All right, we'll be in recess until 11. Sir, I need you to step forward. What's your name, sir?
Royal Long. Royal. Royal.
Mr. Royal, did you not see the sign on the outside of the door that says no cameras, no cell phones? They got to be turned off, no food, anything else.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you were attempting to take a picture, right?
No, sir. I was attempting to turn my phone off.
Why were you pointing it at the defendant?
You can check the phone. I was just trying to turn it off. I would never have done that.
Is there any picture on the phone of the defendant?
The
sheriff.
I did. Oh, you go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Jack. Go ahead.
The sheriff. I didn't see any.
All right, well, I believe you if you tell me, but I don't believe you when you say you weren't trying to take a picture because I saw you holding it up, pointing it at him.
Sheriff. It wasn't a picture mode when I picked it up.
Yeah, so you're lying to me about that.
No, sir.
But make sure your phone's off. I got you before you took it because I keep a close eye on what's going on out here. So make sure that phone is off when you come back. There's no eating in the courtroom either.
Yes, sir.
so he
Alright.
was trying to take it of Daniel,
Yeah.
sounds like.
Wow.
Yeah. And
What
eat
a-
some pig skins.
What a nut jockey.
And that judge keeps a close eye on things. You know, what a
Yeah.
good judge.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the women's asses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
No doubt.
Mhm.
But yeah, I agree, Susan. I got a lot better insight into Jannie Ligons, and I
Jannie.
think she's just big old liar.
Mhm.
Yeah, she is.
Are
Not
we
just
gonna
some
read-
sweet little grandma.
Mhm.
Are we going to read Richard and Marissa?
Yeah, I think it's important because there's a lot of impeaching, a lot of lies. Well,
Yeah.
between what Jannie says, what Richard says, and then what Marissa says that Richard said and did also. So, not tonight, of course, we won't, but
Hey, can you just give us a quick what he says is different?
yeah. So, well, Richard Long says that on her way home, Jannie called him and told him that something really bad had happened. And, wait for me. I'll be there. I'm on my way home. Just wait for me. And I'll also put these in Discord. Once I get the PDFs made, I'll put them in Discord in her room so you guys can go read them there too. But basically,
Well, he had to
says-
wait for her. She had the car, right?
Yeah, and so he says that he went outside and waited for her until she got there. He was
Oh.
outside waiting for her. Um, and that's just, well, it's hard to say who's lying, but Marissa says when you get to her testimony after him, she says that Richard was in bed and that her mom came in and yelled and woke her up, and she was irritated with her mom because she was yelling at her to wake up. And what Marissa says is that Richard Long was nowhere around. He was in his room the whole time Jannie was telling her about the incident. And then Jannie talks about, Marissa talks about, so Richard says that he followed them all the way to where they got to the police and stopped to talk to the police. And then he took off and went to work from there. Marissa says that he didn't even follow them, that she might have said he followed them to, I don't even think she said he followed them to Spring Lake Division, honestly. But that he had to go to work, so he just left. When they all left to go to Spring Lake, that Richard just left because he had to go to work. And they're like huge, inconsistent lies between the two testimonies that don't match up with anything that Jannie said. So,
well, he may have wanted nothing to do with the lies.
yeah. I'll make PDFs tomorrow, and I will put them in Jannie Ligons' room so that you can read the testimonies of Richard Long, Jannie's boyfriend, and Marissa, the daughter, because they're very obvious, striking lies and inconsistencies.
You would think when she was pulled over in January of 16 or 15 that she would kind of have PTSD,
Yeah.
if that had really happened. But she's back there laughing and joking with the guy in the back of the police car.
That's
weird.
You would think that, and that's something that kind of goes back to, for me, when I go back to her fear of being pulled over by Daniel. Yes, fear for, what she's been seeing going on in the news and whatnot, but also fear of, I am baked. Like Jack said, I'm baked right now, and I'm getting pulled over.
I got hydrocodones in my purse.
I got hydrocodone in the purse that don't belong to me. And I don't have a driver's license. My ass is going to jail. So I think with, all of that, I think she was afraid that night that she got pulled over for all those reasons. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a long one. I'm sorry, guys. We knew it would be long, but we also knew that, it was important for you guys to hear her testimony, and it was really great to see the people in chat, as soon as she would lie under oath, going, wait, what? I know Allie and Sheila were both, right on top of just about every lie and inconsistency. So I was happy
her
to see
inconsistencies, the way she changed her story from.
Yeah. So, and that's the whole idea, wanting to show from police report and or recorded interview of an accuser to preliminary hearing from the accuser to trial testimony of the accuser, and hopefully in the future some more evidence from I can't focus, depositions, getting ready for the civil trial. So
hey guys, I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm going to jump off here. I have to take a call in just a minute.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
We're wrapping it up here. So
okay.
So yeah,
Have a good night.
Thanks, Kay. I appreciate you.
Good night,
So
guys.
good night.
Good night.
So I will work on the PDFs of Richard and Marissa's testimonies and get them in Jannie Ligons' room in Discord, and so you guys can all take a chance to get to read them.
Did you say we are or are not going to read them?
I think
here?
I think we'll just put them in the Discord and folks can go read them. Hopefully everybody will be curious enough to want to go in and read those themselves and take notes and make notes, and we can discuss later. So I do want to thank you and do your scars. Allie says literally the only thing that gives her any credibility is why raise hell over this if she was let go? Exactly. That's been a question. And could there really be a cop out there sexually assaulting women? I think there was a cop out there sexually assaulting women, but one certainly
Me
did
too.
not assault Jannie. Jannie's just flat out lying. There's no question. There's never been any question that Daniel was the one who pulled her over. So I think Jannie's is just a big fat lie, and I think her daughter got involved, just to make it a race thing. I think that's why the daughter got so keyed up over all of it. But yes, there are. I do believe.
She may have known someone. She may have known
She might
someone
have.
that it happened to.
She might have.
Yeah.
So
I think it's suspicious that they didn't call 911. That
Yeah,
would be
well,
the smart thing to do.
Well, what they did though, they did call 911 off the bat, but what is completely left out during the trial is that there was a whole entire conversation. And Cherie, I'm sure you remember this from everything that we've read, that there was an entire conversation had with one of Janie's aunts. I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
Anthony Carter
Anthony Carter, who was also on the same lineup as Daniel at Springstone. No, Jannie Ligons has two different law enforcement officers in her family. One was Oklahoma Highway Patrol, and the other one was a cop who was a part of Daniel's actual lineup. I don't remember which shift. I think he was first shift. And they were told, Marissa was told to call 911 and report this, and they'll send somebody out to the house and they'll take the report and go from there. But instead of doing that, those phone calls were all made, if my memory serves me, those calls were all made before they left the house to go to Spring Lake subdivision or substation. And they completely left all of that out during the trial, which it was amazing to me.
I think I know why they didn't call 911, because nothing happened.
Because nothing happened, exactly.
But it makes their suspicious story look even more suspicious in my book.
Did they ever take any phone records from Marissa's house or whatever to check about these alleged phone calls?
Not that we know of. They did take Janie's phone to do forensics testing or whatever. To my knowledge, we don't have any of the reports from what was taken that I can recall. Anyway, I haven't seen any.
And was there ever any inquiry about this alleged incident where the Spring Lake division was closed when they arrived? The lights were out, like they just not open for business.
I believe somebody in the trial will testify to the fact that there was somebody there, but it's just like for dispatch purposes, and that they wouldn't respond. So
I see.
I believe that's what I'm. Also, before I forget, I will also put the testimony of Kim Davis, because Kim Davis is going to testify. So I will also put her testimony, her trial testimony, in Janie's room so that you can read it. Because those are all really important to her case. So
I would guess at Spring Lake, if there's probably something on the door after hours, call 911 if you have an emergency or whatever.
Yeah,
if they,
there.
if they're not open like that.
I'll see if I can find it in the next couple of days. I believe there is some testimony to that. I don't remember who it was, but there is some testimony, I believe, to that. And if I find that, I'll also put it in her room. Sheila Hawkins says, so where is his case now? What is being done now for Daniel? So Daniel's case is in post-conviction right now. And his attorney is just trying to gather as much information as possible, looking for inconsistencies in all of this stuff and deposition testimonies. And it's a great deal of work to try to, it's hard, especially when you're thinking about doing it for 13 different women, trying to find their inconsistencies. And like what we're doing now, reading to you guys so that you can hear the inconsistencies. We're trying to take down some of those inconsistencies so that we can, hopefully share those with Daniel's defense team, and maybe it will, maybe it won't help, but hopefully it will. So that's where Daniel is now, Sheila, and it's just it's a sucky process, and because there's so much so many accusers to go over, it's just really a lot of work. And to my knowledge, I don't know if Daniel's attorney has a team or not, but I do know that his attorney is a very well-known, highly recommended post-conviction attorney in Oklahoma City. So, hopefully that is, is helpful as well. So, oh yeah, that's where we're at, and we will keep you guys updated. Whenever we find out anything new or hear anything new. So right now, nothing. We're not hearing anything new. So it is very heartbreaking. Very heartbreaking. It's very stressful, and I'm sure he's very discouraged a lot of the time too. So that's why cards and letters and notes to Daniel are so important. I know that he really appreciates them when he gets them. So, and I know his family appreciates the support you give to him as well. So, my mouth and jaws don't want to work anymore. And so I'll work on getting those PDFs into the Jannie Ligons room in Discord for you guys to read. I don't expect to be going anywhere this weekend, except for just some recovery. And so if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to hit me up on Discord. And Susan or Jack or Cherie, do any of you have any last comments to make before we end?
I don't. I'm good. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, I'm good. Great.
It was an interesting read. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Like I said, I'll start working tomorrow on getting some of those other transcripts done and get them into Jannie's room in Discord, and hopefully you'll find your way there and check them out and read them, because I think you will be very surprisingly interested in what you read. So we'll be back next Thursday, and I'm already working on the Terry Morris accusation. So hopefully that's going to be a great intro into the Terry Morris accusations next week. So if that's all we have, thank you to everybody in chat for all the comments and great questions. And until next week, peace out.